welcome inside the Friday Night Huddle. Get ready to get excited about high school football. We're all over Ohio. We will have the biggest games covered, combining the resources of cleveland.com and Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. I'm Dave Bacon. My co-hosts in the huddle, Dan Labbe, all the way down, Chris Fedor right next to me. And guys, we have student reporters and professional reporters from cleveland.com throughout Northeast Ohio. Let's take a look at some of the big games that we are covering tonight. And it's kind of interesting. We've got 9 of them that we've kind of identified as top matchups. You get a look at them, Barberton, Aurora, Euclid, Solon. You see the Holy War down Akron way, Perry and Wickliffe, couple of unbeatens. Down in the southern part of the state, Pickerington North and Upper Arlington, interesting matchups for sure. Dan Labbe, let's start with you. Which of these games kind of grabs your attention and really makes you want to get to see what happens tonight?
I'm kind of into this Euclid-Solon game. Euclid at Solon, they've both only lost one game. Euclid's only lost to Aurora. That's a good team. Solon's only lost to Stowe. That's a good team. There's a lot of talent on the field. Of course, Solon breaking in a new quarterback this year, and Joe Bubonics for Euclid. All kinds of talent. You've got Noah Mitchell. I know Coach Rotsky really loves him. He called him the best quarterback in the state of Ohio, so that's some high praise. He's a kid that got hurt before the playoffs last year, but that's the game that I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah, that one's a good one for sure. I mean, you look at that, and those are 2 legitimate playoff teams, Division I, Region I, without question. Chris Fedor, same question. What's got your eye?
Well, there's a few, of course. It's a great slate, I think, on a Friday night. But I'm looking at Perry at Wickliffe. You've got 2 teams, 4-0. And look, Wickliffe is a team that won 3 games all of last year. Already, they've topped their mark from last year. This is one of those games where you find out how far you've come from last year's team and maybe possibly how far you have to go, because Perry is a 4-0 team, and Wickliffe is trying to show that, yes, they're much different from the team from last year. So first 4-0 start since 1998. It's something that they certainly have a lot to be proud of, but if you want to take that next step, the logical stepping stone is beating Perry. Absolutely.
Perry Pirates out in Lake County, without question, one of the better small school programs as well. The one that I'm really interested to see is Barberton and Aurora. You mentioned Aurora. The Greenmen really got beat pretty handily in week 1 against Solon. Then they come back and they are the only team to beat Division I Euclid in the early going and have really put things together. They're a physical defense. They've got a first-year quarterback in Mac Austin who's really starting to put things together. And then you got Big Bubba Arslanian. He plays linebacker, he plays fullback, and he likes to hit and be hit. So that's the one that really has my interest. The Magics, they're kind of fast. They spread it out. Very talented quarterback. So it's going to be an interesting matchup without question as you look at that one.
And you know what, Dave? I always like to look at teams that are coming off their first loss of the year to see how they're going to respond to that. And if you're talking about Barberton, a 1-point loss last week against Copley, now you have to face a team like Aurora, battle-tested, always tough. You really find out what you're made of when you can bounce back from one of those kinds of losses. So a big game for the Magics, no question.
Yeah, and something about a team like Aurora, you just described them. I mean, isn't that Bob Mahalick's team every single year? They have a quarterback. It doesn't matter if he's experienced or not, but he can make the throws he has to make. They always have a 2-way linebacker who can run the ball and really hit people on the other side. And they're not afraid when they go up against a team that's a spread offense like Barberton that likes to throw the ball and play fast. I mean, they're always ready to go against a team like that, and you love seeing that contrasting style.
Well, we mentioned we have reporters all over the field throughout the state of Ohio. We have some down south and in Columbus and Cincinnati as well. Our Tim Bielik is actually the man who is at the game we've been talking about, Aurora and Barberton. Let's check in with Tim Bielik.
Wednesday nights, more sports and less.
Okay, we'll get back to Tim, obviously. But it's kind of interesting. Copley, the team that beat Barberton, very highly thought of, has kind of stumbled a little bit, but that's a team that a lot of people, self-included, think could be a factor deep in the playoffs this year.
I think the other fascinating thing when you talk about this Barberton-Aurora matchup is that, yes, it's only week 5 in high school football, but this is about the time, guys, where you start to look ahead a little bit to the playoffs, and you look at the points.
Yep.
And you've got number 8 and you've got number 9 playing here in Division II Region 5. Only 8 teams make it from each region. So you're talking about big-time playoff points on the line and a team that's trying to fight in there, a team like Barberton.
Yeah, without question. And, Aurora needs to continue the role that they started. They didn't play particularly well against Solon, but it's important to note, they beat Solon last year, and Solon heard about that pretty much all off season. They were ready. They were not going to let Aurora beat them, and Solon looked impressive in that week 1 win without question. That's actually a game I called, and the Comets are a fumble with 38 seconds left in the game away from being unbeaten.
Yeah, and they were up on that game in Stowe. Stowe had a late drive right before the drive that had that fumble. They scored the go-ahead touchdown. They really hadn't done much offensively in that game, and that was just one of those games where that's all it took was one drive. It could have gone either way. Stowe happened to score on theirs. Solon didn't. And you always know with Solon, they're going to have some kind of playmaker on the outside. Their quarterback's going to be able to do just enough. If he's not a star quarterback, he's going to be able to do just enough. And, they're that close to being undefeated.
No question about it. And Stowe, one of the best teams in the state in Division I without question. Well, we are pushing the technological envelope. Let's try to head back over to Tim Bielik. He is at the Aurora and Barberton game.
To Veterans Stadium in Aurora, Ohio, to Week 5 football in the Suburban League American Conference tonight. Hi, I'm Tim Bielik of cleveland.com and the Friday Night Huddle, welcoming you to Veterans Stadium in Aurora, Ohio, to Week 5 football in the Suburban League American Conference tonight. We have got 3-1 Aurora hosting 3-1 Barberton.
Well, there you go. We'll have updates throughout the game. We'll have highlights. We'll hear from Tim at halftime as well. So, again, we have reporters at all of those games that we will check in with.
And going back to Aurora, you mentioned the first game of the year. They play against Solon. It's obviously one that Aurora was looking forward to, Solon looking forward to. And you lose 36-6, and you're starting to think, oh, man, are you kidding me? That's how we're going to start the season off. And what have they done since then? 3 straight blowout losses. If you want to talk about making a statement after losing to Solon in the opening week, you do it by taking care of all the competition and sending a message as well. Of course, tougher test tonight against Barberton, but Aurora's been on a roll, looking very angry since losing to Solon in week 1.
And you know what? That's to be expected. Another interesting matchup down Summit County way is Hoban against St. Vincent St. Mary. Now, we've all heard Hoban being hit with some recruiting violations from the OHSAA. Those will be appealed, and we're not going to get into any of that. But they face a St. Vincent St. Mary team that's struggling. Their quarterback, senior Dante Taylor, has been out, hasn't played. He actually played 2 weeks ago, has turf toe, didn't play last week in the loss against Mooney. But the St. Vincent St. Mary Fighting Irish offense has not scored an offensive touchdown since week 1 against Firestone. And it isn't going to be any easier against a Hoban defense that has been outstanding all season long. That Hoban defense held the two-time defending Division I state champs to 13 points.
Yep.
Yeah, and Fedor, you talk about coming off a loss. Well, St. Vincent St. Mary is coming off a loss, 31-16 to Cardinal Mooney last week. They had a 16-7 lead in that game. Following a kick return for a touchdown, didn't score again. They ended up losing that football game, and like you said, that offense, it's been tough sledding for them.
They're starting a freshman. They're starting freshman Luke Lindsay as quarterback, and he didn't play too poorly. A lot of drop passes. They weren't really able to run the football again. That game against Cardinal Mooney is a game I called. And the thing about them, their defense has scored. Brandon Bischoff, their linebacker, has scored in 3 straight games. Now, the guy that returned a kick, Justin Sampson, he's a defensive end, and he returns kicks. That tells you how athletic this guy is. So there's pieces on St. Vincent St. Mary, but I'll tell you, the Hoban Knights, I was really impressed with them in that loss to St. Ed's.
Yep.
I mean, they held their own on the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. Todd Sibley ran effectively. Danny Clark played pretty well. It's a team that's, they're legitimate.
Yeah, it was a blocked field goal at the very end of the game that prevented that thing from going into overtime against St. Ed. So That's one of the things that you want to do early on in the season if you're a team like Hoban and you've got big-time aspirations and you've got big-time D1 players on your roster. You want to test yourself against the best, and you want to see how far you have to go from that point. And Hoban showed in that matchup against St. Ed's, guys, that they're right there with the two-time state champs of Division I, and they don't have that much further to go. On the other side, for St. Vincent St. Mary, I feel like coming into this year, there were questions about the team, no question about it. Injuries have hurt them, but they're replacing their head coach in Dan Borman, and they've got a new head coach in Marcus Watley, and they don't have that signature win yet in Marcus Watley's era. This would be one that you would certainly want to get if you're a team like Hoban. It would be a great signature win for a new program.
Yeah, but good luck if you've got to slow down Todd Sibley. I mean, you look at the numbers he's putting up. Week 3, 24 carries, 214 yards. What I love is 136 of those in the second half of that football game. So that means they can get a lead and they can sit on it.
I'll take it a step further. Todd Sibley comes out. They run William Collier. William Collier is the starting halfback at 90% of the schools in this area. This kid's very, very talented running the football, and you pair him with Sibley and Clark, and then they've got guys on the outside that are getting it done as well. That's a very good school, a very good team as well.
And here's the other thing for the Irish. We were talking about some computer points and talking about looking ahead to possible playoff scenarios and which wins you have to get in order to get yourself into the postseason. For St. Vincent St. Mary, it doesn't get any easier moving forward because after tonight's game against Hoban, they just have to go play Steubenville on the road. So you got to pick up one of these signature wins, one of these big-time wins, so you can get some of those playoff points.
Well, we've been talking about this game, Hoban against St. Vincent St. Mary. It'll be played on the campus of the University of Akron at InfoCision Stadium. Our Ryan Isley is covering the game, and we'll check in with Ryan pregame here.
Good evening, everybody. Ryan Isley here for cleveland.com and Friday Night Huddle at InfoCision Stadium in Akron as Akron, St. Vincent St. Mary, and Archbishop Hoban renew their rivalry tonight in the Great American Rivalry Series. Hoban comes in sporting a 3-1 record, while St. Vincent St. Mary is 2-2. St. Vincent St. Mary's biggest challenge tonight might be on offense, as they have not scored an offensive touchdown in 3 weeks, and Hoban's defense might be one of the best that they have faced all season. For the Knights, who come into this game ranked number 7 in the cleveland.com Ohio Super 25, their offense will be led by quarterback Danny Clark and running back Todd Sibley. Clark, an Ohio State commit, is ranked number 20 in the cleveland.com Big 101, while Sibley, who is going to Pitt, is ranked number 17.
And that's a awesome 1-2 combination. and think about it. That's a Division III school. That's where they're competing. And Todd Sibley is just a tough runner. He gained about 2,500 yards last year. If he equals that again this year, and he's on pace to do that, he will be within the top 10 runners career in OHSA history. He's not going to catch Terrell Sutton, who's from Hoban. He's way ahead of everybody. But he does have a chance to crack the top 10 with 2,500 yards rushing this year.
And he's just fun to watch run
good
football.
Kid, too. Just a good kid.
Every now and again when there's a special kid like that, you can just tell. You don't even need to be told anything about him. You go to the game, you watch him, and you're like, this kid is special. This kid is different than everybody else. And he's that combination of power, speed, yards after contact. He's everything you want in a running back.
Is Ryan the beat reporter for St. Vincent St. Mary? Did you see that outfit that he was sporting there? I mean, he got all green going on. I think we might want to be impartial there, Ryan. What are we doing?
It wasn't Irish green, though. It was kind of a pale pastel green.
In one of those cases, just toss on some red. Can't go wrong with that. Red, toss it on green.
You've always got to be aware of what you're wearing when you go to these games.
Right.
They're not going to go there. They're not going to go there. You look a little deeper into to the matchups. We'll change focus a little bit. You look at the Euclid game.
Yeah.
Euclid coming off an impressive win. They beat Mentor last week on a Thursday night, so they get a little bit extra to prepare. They played early last week, a little bit extra to prepare. They were very impressive. That was a game where Coach Rotsky kind of rallied his team. They were motivated because they felt anyone that wasn't in their locker room gave them no chance to win that game. And they came out and played outstanding and beat Coach Trevisano's team.
Yeah, and Coach Rotsky is one of those guys that when you talk to him, like you want to suit up and you want to go out there and you just want to hit somebody. He's got that type of personality, whether you're a player for him, whether you're talking to him on the phone, you're talking to him on the field before a game. As soon as you're done, you're ready to just go run through a brick wall. And that's the sort of motivator that he is. And they took a big step last season. They eventually ended up losing to St. Edward like everyone else did. But they took a huge step forward last season getting into the playoffs.
Here's one of the things that you wonder about a team like Euclid going into tonight's game against Solon, guys, is the fact that they are coming off that win against Mentor. And that was a huge win for them. It was the first time they've beaten Mentor since 2007. So you wonder, okay, was that the win that is going to propel them forward, or is that the kind of win that they're going to celebrate a little bit too long and maybe get tripped up against this Solon team? You never really know how young kids are going to respond after that signature win, and I think that's something to watch, especially early on in this game against Solon.
Yeah, no question about it. Another game we'll be covering is St. Ignatius taking on Walsh Jesuit. Wildcats lost in overtime to Detroit Central Catholic a week ago on the road. Our Mike Couttet is taking in that game. Mike Couttet telling us about Walsh Jesuit and St. Ignatius.
We're just less than 25 minutes away from kickoff. 3-1 St. Ignatius Wildcat faces the Walsh Jesuit Warriors, who is 1-3. A lot of history between these two teams like last year. At Byers Field, St. Ignatius Wildcats scored the winning touchdown to win that game 30-27. It should be a good crowd today. All battle here, ready for some football. It's Friday night under the lights here at Walsh Jesuit High School. I'm Mike Couttet. Stay tuned for updates and videos and game stories live tonight.
A good look, Walsh Jesuit starting to fill up. That's the home side of the Warriors, and St. Ignatius had the opportunity to see them play earlier in the year. Really impressed with what they did. I don't know anything about Detroit Central Catholic, but if they beat that team, I know St. Ignatius turned the ball over 3-4 times, that's really tough to overcome, but that's a very good football team. St. Ignatius is back in a big way.
Yeah, and I mean, it starts up front.
Yep.
Mentor Steve Trevisano, he said they're enormous across the front, and that's what we've seen St. Edward do kind of over the years, build that enormous front line.
Inside out.
Yeah,
Inside
exactly.
Out.
And in high school football, if you're bigger than everybody up front, you might not beat everybody, but you're going to cause a lot of problems for people.
And here's the other thing when it comes to St. Ignatius, guys. It's always about defense with the Wildcats. And you talk about that game against Detroit Central Catholic. First time all year St. Ignatius has allowed more than 7 points in a particular game. And a big part of that was because, St. Ignatius turned the ball over and put the defense in a bad spot. I know head coach Chuck Kyle was disappointed with his defense last year. They missed the playoffs last year, and he put a point of emphasis on making that defense a St. Ignatius-type defense. And once again, it certainly is.
Yeah, no question about it. We will keep our eye on St. Ignatius and Walsh Jesuit. Another game we are covering is Copley and Revere, a Suburban League battle. Our Bill Mayville has that one covered. We're going to check in with Bill. You there, Bill? Bill Mayville. All right. We'll get back to Bill. Copley and Revere, again, Suburban League matchup. Copley's a team. Weston Bridges, running back, headed to Michigan State. He's a good one, without question.
Oh, yeah, he absolutely is. We talked about Sibley earlier. Weston Bridges is kind of built a little bit different, runs a little bit different than Sibley, but still that type of back that can just impact a game. You hand the ball off to him, and he can do some real damage. And, Austin Brenner at quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a guy that last year was so good for them. And, he's kind of had to develop and take a step forward as well to kind of take some of the pressure off of Weston Bridges.
That's a team that made a pretty deep playoff run, eventually lost in the playoffs to Hudson, team that went to, the state semis. And they returned a strong core from that group. They're just trying to hit that mid-season stride and get things rolling in the right direction in that Suburban League.
I mean, on the other side, you've got a team like Revere 2015. They win 3 games. They're already at 3 games. So this is another one of those measuring stick games, okay? How far have we come from last year's team? How far do we continue to have to go? They're coming off a huge loss against Highland, got blown out 48-0. But this is another one of those games where they've already won as many games as last year. Now let's measure ourselves against a team the caliber of Copley.
Yep.
Let's head back to the phone and Bill Mayville. Bill, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. What do you think?
All right, great.
Bill Mayville, you'll be covering, obviously, Copley and Revere. Give us a little bit of a thumbnail. What are you looking for in this one?
You know, we're going to look at Copley is 3-1. They're 1-0 in the division. They're coming off a win over Barberton last week. As you said, Revere came off a big loss to Highland last week, but Revere's already matched their win total from last year, so it's already a positive year for them. We're going to look at, we got 2 dynamic running backs in this game. It's Weston Bridges is the reigning Suburban League MVP. He's already up around 600 yards over the first 4 games, and he's got around 13 total touchdowns. On the Revere side, we're looking at Clayton Langdon, who is showing some big playability. He's got 3 touchdowns of 55 yards or more, and he's got 9 total TDs in his first 4 games. So a couple of good running backs in this game. It'll be interesting to see how this game shakes out.
All right, Bill Mayville, we will check in as the game gets rolling, Copley and Revere. Let's head back to the Solon and Euclid game. Matt Gould will be covering that for us. Let's check in with Matt.
This is Matt Gould from cleveland.com bringing you Friday night huddle coverage of Euclid with a 3-1 record at Solon, also with a 3-1 record. These 2 teams shared the Greater Cleveland Conference crown last year, the inaugural league title, and here they are tonight playing for the lead. They share it with Medina right now, which is 4-0. Be sure to follow all night for coverage of this one.
All right, and we will check in with Matt Gould. All of our reporters will be posting video for us. We'll grab some highlights as they happen. We'll check in with them when action breaks. Don't want to check in with them while they're videotaping the game and getting us highlights, so we'll check back in with them. The other one to keep an eye on is a couple of teams in the Super 25. Pickerington Central is taking on Upper Arlington in the Columbus area, and those are 2 teams to keep an eye on as you go in, both Division I schools and both having very good seasons.
And it's interesting, too, when it comes to Upper Arlington, because this is a team that has started off 4-0, won 8 games last year, and they lost a bunch of players from last year's team. And yet here they are once again. Their quarterback, Sammy Sass, having a great start to the year, running back E.J. Caldwell. But Pickerington Central, this is a team that has won 10 straight conference titles, one of the powers, certainly, in all of Ohio. The only team to beat Cincinnati Elder at this point, and Elder's a team that just beat St. Ed.
Yep.
So you know the level of competition that Pickerington Central is playing against this year.
Pickerington Central, Jay Sherritt, the head coach down there, they're going to be able to play very good defense. They're going to be active. They're going to be able to run the football, and they're going to be able to throw it as much as they need to be effective.
That's a good way to put it, as much as they need to. They know who they are.
Exactly.
They understand how they can win games.
There will be times where they'll pass it 15, 20 times. There will be times where they pass it 5, 10 times.
Yeah.
But very good football program and very solid.
Yeah, and you also kind of start to peek ahead at that schedule that they have coming up. It just keeps getting tougher and tougher. Obviously, this week is a tough game, but you've got Gahanna Lincoln 4-0, Pickerington North 4-0, Reynoldsburg 3-1. So you've got some teams on that schedule that are really difficult after this week. And you know, if you start to fall behind a little bit, you start to lose a little bit, maybe your status in those computer rankings starts to drop.
The Avon Eagles, ranked number 1 in the state in Division II. How about Mike Elder's guys?
Oh.
They get it done last week, 45-28. They beat a very talented Midview team, and they got another pretty tough test.
They sure do, but when you're talking about Avon, you're talking about offense. You're talking about running the ball, airing it out. That's the one thing that you know about Mike Elder's Avon Eagles. It's a program. That's what it is. It's turned into a program where even if you lose a quarterback the likes of Jake Sopko, you're still going to be able to find somebody else within your program that can operate the offense, have an understanding of it, and have enough weapons around him so that he can make some plays in the passing game.
They'll get a look at Westlake tonight, and that's a program on the rise with Jason Hall. Had a chance to see them late last year, and they had some young guys that were starting to put it together, and they're continuing to put it together under Jason Hall. He likes what he has in the lower classes, the guys that would be juniors and sophomores now and the freshmen.
Yeah, and they're coming off a big win against North Olmsted, 59-13. Kadar Robinson, 12 carries, 130 yards, 2 scores. Their quarterback, Trey Billois, 11 of 17, 189, and 85 rushing yards. So that's a team that's versatile. They can beat you in the air. They can beat you on the ground. Boy, Avon, though. Avon is tough.
Yes, sir. I tell you what, that running back is outstanding. I saw him. He will run over people, and he can run by people as well. No question about it. We're going to take a quick time out here on the Friday Night Huddle, but don't worry, we'll be back. We've got plenty of things to cover. We'll head back out to each of the sites that we have covered. We have reporters all over the place. We'll get some student involvement as well. We're going to go to break with the coin toss, Euclid and Solon.
As World Heavyweight Champion, Clevelander, and spokesman for Nature Stone, we'd like to present you with our own award.
Wow, it's awesome.
We had it made ourselves. It's made of...
Not the award, the floor.
Oh, it's Nature Stone.
Installed over concrete, Nature Stone flooring is tough, durable, long-lasting, and beautiful. Act now and get up to 50% off.
This is the only time you'll see me on the floor.
To schedule your free in-home consultation, go to naturestone.com today.
The Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education program has been recognizing students and teachers who shine both in and out of the classroom since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com and click on Supporting Education. Students in kindergarten through 12th grade are eligible to be academic all-stars. K through 12 teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible to be honored as the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Crew SC Match Day. Every match, 30 minutes before the kick. Delivering everything fans need to know. With live reports, unmatched analysis, club news, and more. After the game, stay here for Crew SC Post-Match. From the biggest moments to the road ahead, Crew SC Match Day and Crew SC Post-Match. Only on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel.
Save the tax, save a bundle. This week at Mattress Warehouse. Save $900 on our best-selling Sealy Pillow Top with gel foam, just $4.99, and receive a discount equal to the sales tax and a free TV. In fact, save the tax and get a free TV with our most popular Sealy sets. Plus, get 5 years, 0% APR financing and same or next day delivery with qualifying purchases. Save the tax, save a bundle. This week at Mattress Warehouse.
Welcome inside the huddle along with Dan Labbe and Chris Fedor from cleveland.com. I'm Dave Bacon, and guys, it's the magical hour on Friday night. 7 o'clock in Northeast Ohio means kickoff time. Things have kicked off. There are a couple of 7:30 starts as we get into the central and southern parts of the state. That's more prevalent than up here, but updates will start rolling in. As we mentioned, one of the games we haven't yet touched on that we'll be covering is Strongsville and Medina. The Medina Bees off to an outstanding start.
Yeah, Medina, the big name to know there is Jimmy Daw.
Yeah.
He's already broken the school record for single-season touchdowns, and it's week 5. They haven't even started playing in week 5, and he's already broken that record.
Helps when you get 6 in one game.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's a guy that I got a chance to see last season a couple of times, and that's really what Medina's about, toughness. Giving the ball to Jimmy Daw and letting him get in the end zone. They're 4-0. Strongsville is a game they should win, but you never know week to week in high school football. But this is an opportunity for them to get to win number 5 already.
Getting pretty decent quarterback play from John Curtis as well. Jimmy Daw, got to see him last year, and you could see there are a lot of things to like about Jimmy Daw, and he's obviously putting it together. The other thing is when a guy breaks a record like that this early, those 5 guys up front, the offensive line, are moving people around and allowing him to do that.
Sure. I think on the other side, guys, for a team like Strongsville, you're talking about the Mustangs right now. They're playing in that tough Greater Cleveland Conference. They're in Division I, Region 2. Very, very difficult to be one of the 8 teams to get into the playoffs from that region. It's time that they get a win. And they need one of those because right now they're 13th in D1 Region 2. They're coming off a loss against Shaker Heights last week. Their only win so far this year is against 1-3 Brush. So it's time for the Mustangs to try and turn things around. It would be a great opportunity for them to get some big-time playoff points if they can find a way to pull the upset against Medina.
But I do think you also look at the first 2 weeks. That's a tough start. They've got to play at Avon.
Yep.
They lose by 7. They've got to play against Hudson.
Yep.
Those are tough matchups. That's a tough way to start your season. And sometimes you get down 0-2 and you're just it's hard to kind of get that momentum going when you start off that slowly early in the season and have a schedule that difficult.
Well, you mentioned the Hudson Explorers. That is one of the places that we can look into. Let's head out to Veterans Memorial Stadium, Hudson, Ohio, where Hudson is taking on North Royalton. And you see the Hudson Explorers there's Matt Restifo, actually homecoming king tonight. So there's something not many people know. They'll find out at halftime. But Restifo, one of the big-time playmakers for the Explorers, has been banged up, came back and played a little bit last week rather, and is healthy now. You see the little spread formation, and a nice job of getting there and getting the sack for North Royalton. A good job up front as North Royalton got some penetration and was able to make the play defensively.
And we talked earlier about the fact that Aurora has made statement win after statement win after statement win after losing in the opening week against Solon. It's an opportunity for Hudson coming off their first loss of the season, the only one against Canton McKinley, an opportunity for them to continue the momentum from that loss after bouncing back nicely last week.
Milo Vikovac is the defensive lineman who got in there and got the sack for North Royalton. So near midfield, Hudson with football. We'll check back in if anything transpires there, but something to keep an eye on. That's a program that had a bump in the road.
Yep.
And then, again, got back on track last week. And let's give credit to Canton McKinley. They were down 16-0 and then ended up hanging 51 on a team that went to the state semifinals in Division II.
Yep, and you always like to see how teams are going to bounce back and how they're going to respond. And at this point, we should probably know what Hudson is going to be made of. It's what they do. It's what they've been doing. It's a great program. And since that loss against Canton McKinley, nothing, just a 34-7 win against Nordonia. So another opportunity tonight to build off of that. And look, this is a Hudson team that got a new head coach.
Yep.
Certainly questions about them, but it seems like they continue to answer every single question. And here they are. It's week 5. Division II, Region 5, and they're number 6 in the playoff rankings.
And the coach you mentioned, Jeff Goff, was on the staff of Ron Wright. Ron Wright stepping away because of some health concerns, and we'll see if he returns. The plan is for him to return next year. But obviously the Explorers 3-1 and looking pretty good and pretty solid in Division II as well.
Yeah, and they've got 2 pretty good quarterbacks in Jackson Parker, Colt Pillay. They use them differently. One's a runner, one's a thrower, which can sometimes be difficult for a coaching staff to juggle who's playing when, but they've figured out a way to do that effectively as this season has gone along, and part of that is because you talk about Hudson. They're one of those teams, we mentioned it with Aurora. You know what that team is. You don't even need to look at the roster. You don't need to know who's playing. You know exactly who the Hudson Explorers are,
and here's
year in and year out.
Most importantly, Hudson knows who Hudson is, and they know how they have to win, and they have an identity, and you can't say that about every team in Northeast Ohio, certainly in high school football. Some teams are still finding themselves at the beginning of the year. Some teams are still finding themselves midway through the year. Hudson has an identity. They stay true to that identity, and they're not going to waver from it because it's been completely successful for their program over the last couple of years.
Well, as we begin week 5 of high school football throughout the state of Ohio, perfect time to take a look at the Super 25 as compiled by cleveland.com. These are the 25 best teams in the state of Ohio, regardless of division. We will start with 20 to 25 and count our way up to number 1. Let's take a look at this week's Super 25. We will count up to number 1. Hilliard Bradley, coming off a win over crosstown rival Darby, moves up a couple of spots to 22. The Jags are 4-0 on the season, taking on Thomas Worthington tonight. Uniontown Lake from the Federal League cracks the top 25 after a 20-3 win over Mount Vernon a week ago. They're 4-0 and will face another 4-0 Federal League team, Massillon Jackson, who also checks into the top 25 at number 24. Solon, 3-1 on the season, moves up a spot to number 23 after putting 53 points on the board against Brunswick. And 3-1 Fairfield checks in at number 21 after an impressive 42-0 shutout of Middletown last week. Dublin Kaufman checks in at number 16. The Rocks have run off 3 straight wins after their loss in Week 1. The Shamrocks are finding the green of the end zone often, averaging better than 33 points per game over those last 3 wins. Tonight, they take on Gahanna. Whitmer from Toledo, 3-1 on the year, stays at number 20 after beating Lima Senior a week ago. 2-1 Springfield is the only team who beat Kaufman this year. They are ranked 19th this week. Trotwood Madison checks in at 18 after an impressive win over Tippecanoe a week ago. And unbeaten Avon moves into the Super 25 at number 17 after beating Midview 45-28 a week ago. The Elder Panthers had a great win at home over St. Ed's down in the pit, the name of their home field, 15-9. Elder topped the Eagles. They play University Prep from Philadelphia tonight. Upper Arlington checks in at number 15 after shutting out Westerville South a week ago. St. Ignatius drops 7 spots down to number 14 after losing to Detroit Central Catholic on the road in overtime a week ago. They'll face Walsh Jesuit tonight. Worthington Kilbourne, 4-0 on the year, stays at number 12. They will face a tough Hartley team tonight. And 3-0 Toledo Central Catholic is ranked 11th. They get a tough matchup facing number 20 Whitmer tonight. All right, it's time for the top 10 in this week's Super 25. At number 9, Pickerington Central hasn't allowed more than 14 points in any of their 4 games this year. They are ranked 9th this week, and they will face 15th-ranked Upper Arlington tonight. Olentangy Liberty checks in at number 10. They move up 3 spots after beating Hilliard-Davidson 28-3 a week ago. St. Xavier is 2-2 and ranked 8th after beating Cathedral from Indiana 34-29. The Bombers have played a brutal schedule so far, and it doesn't get any easier tonight. They face a top 5 team in Moeller. 3-1 Hoban checks in at number 7. The Knights are getting ready to face their arch rival, St. Vincent St. Mary. LaSalle from Cincinnati, who lost to Christian Brothers from Tennessee a week ago, claims the 6th spot. And here we go. Here are our top 5. Our top-ranked team is getting it done on offense and defense. The Coleraine Cardinals under Top Bolden are ranked by some as one of the best teams in the country. They're 5-0 after beating Sycamore yesterday. We'll have highlights of that game a little later in the show. Wayne High School from Huber Heights down Dayton Way is the second-ranked team. They beat Miamisburg last week and are getting ready for Clayton Northmont tonight. St. Ed's, with that tough road loss a week ago, in one of the toughest places to play, Elder, stays at number 3. They will face Buchtel tomorrow afternoon in a game you can see on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Stowe moves up a spot to number 4 in the Super 25. They will take on Nordonia tonight. And Moeller, getting ready for their arch rival St. Xavier tonight, rounds out the top 5 of our Super 25. A number of matchups between top-ranked teams tonight that we will follow all night long. And there you go. Coleraine number 1, and boy, did they look good in that game against Sycamore last night.
Really tough to argue against
Yeah,
Coleraine as number 1
right?
at this point, right? I mean, go back to last year, only 3 teams scored more than 16 points against them. Cincinnati LaSalle was one, Lakota West the other, and Huber Heights Wayne was the other. And so far this year, in 4 games, now 5 games, only 1 team has scored more than that, and Coleraine still had enough offense to get the W in Week 1 against Warren Central from Indiana.
And they're doing it without really being able to keep their starting quarterback on the field. They've had to go to their backup, a sophomore, Deontay Smith-Moore. They had to do it. They thought they had their starting quarterback back last night, but he lasted a series.
Rolled his ankle again.
Yeah, so to have that kind of depth at that position and turn to a sophomore, it just speaks to your program, and to be able to withstand injuries. That can be the difference between maybe winning a state championship and maybe losing in the 2nd or 3rd round.
All right, we have Mike Fitzpatrick, who is covering Westlake and Avon for us. He joins us on the phone. Mike, what's going on over at Westlake and Avon?
Good evening. Early fireworks here in Avon as Mason McLemore breaks off a 63-yard touchdown run in state-ranked Avon out to an early 7-0 lead here at homecoming.
All right, that'll be an interesting one to keep our eye on. We know Avon can light up the scoreboard as well.
Yeah, definitely. Westlake, they were averaging 39.5 a game, but Avon's just got like an outstanding defensive and offensive line. I think they're going to dominate up front.
And
we'll see, though. It should be a good contest, Southwestern Conference contest.
As
the teams met for the first team last year. Avon came away with a big win. They were real dominant last year. This year they're more of a balanced team. That is, they don't have the big playmakers, but they have a lot of depth. So.
And as you look at it, Coach Hall trying to build that program for Westlake, it'll be interesting to see how they respond. They've had some success early in the year, so let's see how the Demons respond there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay, well, have a good night, guys.
All right, we appreciate it. Mike Fitzpatrick checking in. Avon out to a 7-0 lead. The Eagles, the names change, but the scoreboards just keep ringing up the points.
That's exactly right. They lose Garrett Choate, running back, and now they've replaced him with Mason McLemore. Same guy who scored a touchdown so far tonight for the Eagles, had 216 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns against Midview. Avon can do it through the air, no question, but they can also do it on the ground. Over 450 yards rushing last week against Midview. Just so much balance, so much firepower. And they've got the defense, too. And for a team like Westlake, stepping stone, certainly for them. They have different goals that they're trying to reach, and I would think that one of them is try and compete in the SWC. And if you want to compete in the SWC, that goes through Avon. There's no question about that.
Yeah, and for Avon, I thought it was really impressive to go to Midview, where they've had so many shootouts with them over the years and always back and forth games, both teams giving up big leads at times. I thought to see them go there last week and kind of open that game up and hang on to that lead and make a statement against Midview, I thought that was a really important step for this team, breaking in a new quarterback and breaking in a new running back.
And I think the score matters tonight for Westlake when you talk about the mentality for them moving forward, because they played against Avon last year, lose 56-13. So now they can find out, okay, how much have we improved from last year's team? How do we stand up against the best team in the SWC in Avon? So even if they don't win it tonight, just keeping it close against a team like Avon, a team that has had Westlake's number in the past, it will show how far they've come with head coach Jason Hall.
And it'll be curious to see, too, for Avon to score so quickly. Yeah. Now, that's the mental test you want for Jason Hall and his guys. Now he's going to get a chance to see, are they going to check out or are they going to respond, maybe within the quarter or something like that, control the football, put some drives together, or is it going to fall apart quickly?
Well, one of the things that we are encouraging on the Friday Night Huddle here is our student involvement. And really, one of the bigger stories that's gone on, not only with high school football, but in the community over the past week has been the tragedy with Trooper Kenneth Velez. His funeral was just yesterday. He was killed in the line of duty on Thursday, a week ago Thursday. Tragically, less than 24 hours later, his son played a football game, a high school football game. We have a unique perspective of that whole situation, and it's given to us by the Steel News Live team. This is a group of students that does a 11-minute newscast in Steel High School every morning. Now, the piece you're about to see was entirely done by students. They shot it all, they edited it all, they wrote it all, and they also were the talent narrating it. It's the closest thing that we can give you to an inside feel for what the community of Amherst was going through in Steel High School with the tragic death of Trooper Kenneth Velez.
Steel High School's Memorial Stadium, usually filled with green and gold, gives way to a sea of blue to honor Trooper Kenneth Velez, who was killed in the line of duty during a traffic stop the day before.
Please stand and join with us in a moment of silence for Trooper Velez, as the communities of both Marinell Steel High School and Berea Bay Park High School release blue balloons in his honor.
Hours after the accident, his son, sophomore linebacker Christian Velez, texted his coach saying, "I know for a fact my dad won't want me to slow down or stop my life for anything because it is too precious. So if you guys will still let me, I was wondering if I could play in the game tomorrow." Not only did he play, but the team honored him by naming him a captain. And an entire community stopped to pay tribute to Trooper Velez.
I think everybody knows Christian, is touched by him, and everybody loves the kid. I don't know a person in this world that doesn't love Christian.
I just love the way Amherst has come together as a community. I think it's great.
I think it's awesome how the community is coming together to show support for the Velez family. It's much appreciated by the patrol and his family, I'm sure.
What a tragic event, but just what an outpouring of love. And I just hope that this love and this concern and this appreciation of our officers and what they do every day continues.
The Comets started the night with a 14-game losing streak, but tonight was different on multiple levels. They played their hearts out for their teammate. They played for the memories of his father. They fed off the energy throughout the stadium and blew out the Titans 54-13 to get their first win since 2014.
Tuck away.
And they did it for Christian.
43. We all got you. We all got you. Brother, bro.
It was very important for us to get this win for Christian, not only because he lost his father and it's very sad, but we wanted to prove to him and have his father watch over us tonight.
This win meant a lot tonight, obviously for Christian. Yeah, he's one of our brothers, and we did it for him.
Let's go!
He's such an amazing young man. I don't know if I could have handled it at my age at that point in time, and how he's handled it and how he's taken it in stride, and the support he's got from his teammates is just amazing.
I'm just so proud to have all my brothers and sisters here with me. We've worked so hard all summer for this, and we got it. We got it. Let's go!
It's just me and my brothers and sisters, the whole community as a family are out here. And we were able to, I know my dad was here and we were able to get the win. I'm really just proud of our whole family.
And again, that is a student-produced piece on that tragic event. Dominic Zappa, Michael Rakar, Meredith Funderburg, Emily Hicks, Kate Anderson, and Reed Dobo. Producers on that. We want to encourage students to be involved, to call us, to let us know if you have stories that you want to send us. We'll enlist your help as we huddle up here on Friday nights. Important to note, the Steel News Live crew has won 3 National Student Emmys.
Wow.
And a bunch of local ones as well. And they're nominated for 2 that they find out about next week if they won them this year. So,
well, they did a great
outstanding job.
that.
Yeah, no question. Not an easy topic, and they did it very well.
Yep.
And I think they captured in that piece really why sports are just so awesome. They bring the community together, and you're able to move past some of the crazy things that happen in life, Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, whatever it is, and you're able to rally together as a community and find one common goal to support, and sports can be an escape from that. And congratulations to Amherst Steel on a huge win. I mean, that might just be one in the column, but that is probably the biggest win in a long, long time for that program because of everything that was going on.
And I have to say, the guy that's the teacher there of television is a heck of a producer. That's Mark Lowry. Worked with him. Obviously a pretty good teacher as well. Heck of a producer, pretty good teacher as well. We're going to head to the phones. Bryant Kaiser is covering Medina and Strongsville. He has an update. Bryant, what's happening out there?
Just before the kickoff, Dylan Fultz returned the opening kickoff for 85 yards at a touchdown. Then the next time he got a ball, he caught it and went 60 yards for the touchdown. So right now, Medina's leading 14-0. Strongsville was driving, but that stalled. Now Medina gets the ball, and they're moving it down the field.
All right. 14-0. Bryant, we appreciate it. Kind of what?
Yeah, the seniors from Medina haven't beaten Strongsville, so this will be if it stands. Still got a lot of football left.
Without question. Bryant Kaiser reporting from Medina and Strongsville. Bryant, we appreciate it. We'll check back in with you.
Okay.
There's some motivation, and that
Sure.
That will let you know this one isn't going to be one you overlook.
And Dylan Foltz is saying, hey, Dan, you're talking a lot about Jimmy Daw. You're talking a lot about John Curtis. Don't forget about me. I caught 5 passes, 106 yards, and a touchdown last week against Elyria. Now I've got 2 touchdowns already. So how about you include me in that mix when we're talking about the triplets now from Medina instead of just the duo?
That's what I was thinking. We completely forgot to mention Dylan Foltz. I didn't know that was going to get thrown at me, but all right, that's fine. If you're going to have a good quarterback, you got to have good weapons too.
That's
and
right.
Dylan Foltz is obviously one of those weapons, receiving the football and also in the return game.
Now we encourage you to grab your phone and check us out, but I don't think Dylan was sitting there going, "What? Labbe's not giving me my love? I'll show him."
That's right.
Hold on, guys. I got to go return this kick for a touchdown. I'll be right. I got to shut this guy up.
Monitor the Twitter. I'm sure they're coming at you.
Well, but again, Medina off to a great start. You kind of had a sense that Larry Laird would get that headed that way, and it's the type of football he likes. He comes from that Avon Lake tree. They're going to line up, and they're going to be physical.
And I think it's an interesting note that the senior class from Medina hasn't beaten Strongsville. And we're talking about little stepping stones. Every single program has different things that they want to accomplish. Some have big-time goals, and they want to win a state championship. Other one, they want to get to the playoffs. Maybe it's a conference championship, or maybe it's just your class beating another team that you haven't beaten. And you better believe that every single one of those seniors for the Bees, they understand that they haven't beaten Strongsville, and they know what's at stake in a game like tonight, even with Strongsville being 1-3.
Well, we have our first video highlight of the night that we get to take a look at. We're going to head out to Veterans Stadium in Aurora. It's Aurora taking on Barberton. We mentioned the Green Men's offense, pretty good. The Green Men's defense can get it done as well. As you know, Bob Mahalick's guys always playing well. Barberton wants to throw, rolling out, and it's Jimmy Richards coming up with the intercept. Oh, look at the move, Jimmy Richards.
Oh, wow.
He breaks another tackle. It's a pick 6. So Aurora Greenman, Jimmy Richards, puts 7 on the board, and it is 7-0 Aurora leading Barberton. A defensive touchdown for the Greenmen. They get that lead, and you're going to see a lot of number 27, Bubba Arslanian, running the football, and that is not a fun thing for a defense to see.
Yeah, and if you're going to run that spread offense against Aurora, you better get that ball out quick. You don't have time to run around. You don't have time to hesitate because there's going to be a lot of green shirts right on top of you if you do. And you mentioned it, Bob Mahalick, one thing he's really good at, taking a 12-minute quarter and making it about 12 minutes long in real time. He can make a game real short, real quick.
And they're big and they're physical. They've got a quarterback in Mac Austin, first-year starter. He's big, physical. He can throw, he can run, and that's kind of standard for the way they play. I mean, you look at it, a couple of their guys, George Bolus comes to mind. He's a linebacker in college. He was playing quarterback there. So likes those big physical guys that can throw the football.
And Dave, I'm glad that you bring up the defense because when it comes to Aurora, sometimes so many people focus on the offense. Look, in the last 3 wins, the lowest point total that they've scored offensively is 38. But since allowing 36 to Solon in week 1, the most points that Aurora has given up, 15 against Twinsburg. Other than that, holding Euclid to 13 points, Kent Roosevelt to 7 points. So yeah, the offense gets a lot of the headlines, and they've scored a bunch of points in the last 3 weeks after losing against Solon in week 1. But defensively, that's how the Greenmen are going to take that step and turn themselves into a playoff power.
Yeah, and if you hold Euclid's offense to 13 points, you're doing something. They scored 47 last week in that win against Menor. It's time for us to call a little bit of an audible. We're going to regroup here, take a quick timeout. We will return to the Friday Night Huddle. For Dan Labbe, Chris Fedor, I'm Dave Bacon. We'll be right back.
And the Crew score! To the rim, count it! He's still on his feet!
People got stomped and killed. It was a brutal game.
It was a decade of excellence.
Football fans, huddle up. Friday nights are about to change forever with Friday Night Huddle. From pregame to postgame and everything in between, Friday Night Huddle is the place for Ohio football action. Combining the resources of cleveland.com, Classic Teleproductions, and Time Warner Cable Sports Channel, Friday Night Huddle gives you unprecedented coverage. You can be part of the action. Get updates as they happen. On cable, online, and on point. Friday Night Huddle.
Nobody gives you more ways to save on Tempur-Pedic than Mattress Warehouse. Save hundreds on special purchase Tempur-adjustable bases. Your bed goes up, your bed goes down. But hurry, these won't last long. Save up to $1,000 on select Tempur-Breeze models while supplies last. A Queen Tempur-adjustable set is just $34 a month. All come with 5 years, 0% APR financing or a free TV. Nobody gives you more ways to save on Tempur-Pedic than Mattress Warehouse.
I'm Stipe Miocic, world heavyweight champion for Nature Stone, and Cleveland's first hometown champ. Fighting can be brutal, so can mold, mildew, or flooding on your basement carpet or tile. Get Nature Stone and never replace your basement flooring again.
Hurry, act now. Get Nature Stone and save up to 50%. That's up to 50% off authentic Nature Stone flooring.
Nature Stone, like me, simply the best.
Act now. Call or visit naturestone.com today.
The Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education program has been recognizing students and teachers who shine both in and out of the classroom since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com and click on Supporting Education. Students in kindergarten through 12th grade are eligible to be academic all-stars. K through 12 teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible to be honored as the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Monday night is the night for Ohio Sports Talk, and it's all on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. At 6, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason takes your calls live on More Sports and Les Levine. Then at 7, Dave Bacon and the boys unload on the week in sports on Armchair Quarterbacks. And at 8, Bruce Hooley's out to make you the smartest sports fan around. Ohio's biggest night in sports talk. Monday nights only on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel.
Hudson with the football, and a nice job of shutting down the running play. Getting the carry is Dawson Worvey, and he shut down at about the 8-yard line. And you are looking at a look-in from the Hudson Cable Television. And we have a player injured on the field, so we'll step away from that. But Hudson down inside the 10-yard line trying to get on the scoreboard and take the lead here on homecoming. As it's that time of year, we'll have homecoming all over the place next few weeks.
Never really know how kids are going to respond for homecoming games, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where, there's tons of pressure, number one. There's a lot of excitement, number two. And your mind might be elsewhere, number three, because you're thinking about maybe a dance coming up.
You're driving a coach crazy here. My players are focused on football.
Maybe you got a text hanging out there.
That's right.
Nowadays, maybe you got a text hanging out there. Hey, you want to go to the dance with me?
Yep.
Now you got to wait till after the game to see if she responded or not.
You can use emotion in a positive way, but at the same time, you can get a little bit overwhelmed when it comes to emotion as well.
Let's check in with Ryan Isley. He's covering the St. Vincent St. Mary Hoban game at InfoCision Stadium. Ryan, what's going on with the Knights and the Irish?
Hey guys, you might actually be able to hear the crowd behind me because as I was on hold, the St. Vincent St. Mary Fighting Irish were trying to punt to start the second half from their own goal line, and Hoban blocked the punt, picked it up for a touchdown. They're about to kick the extra point to go up 7-0. The first quarter was a defensive struggle for both sides. Hoban couldn't move the football. St. V could move the football, but couldn't move it far enough. And the first big break of the day ended up being that St. V caught a punt inside its own 5-yard line. They couldn't move it offensively from there, and that led to the blocked punt for a touchdown for the Hoban Knights.
And, Ryan, we've kind of both touched on it. St. Vincent St. Mary's offense has struggled. Haven't scored a point or an offensive touchdown since week 1. So they can't afford to fall behind, especially to a team like Hoban.
Absolutely. The one thing that is helping them tonight, though, is they did welcome back senior Dante Taylor, who had missed the last 3 weeks with turf toe. He was their big catalyst in week 1 in their 46-6 victory, and they had been starting a freshman at quarterback the last 3 weeks. Dante has looked pretty decent so far moving the offense, but again, they can't make big plays, and this Hoban defense, probably the best the St. P has seen this year, has been coming up with big play after big play as they have all season.
All right, we appreciate it, Ryan. We'll check back in with you as well. Ryan Isley updating us from the Hoban game as Hoban takes a 7-0 lead. Let's check back in at Hudson Memorial Stadium. Hudson, again, 5-yard line is where the Explorers have the football. I formation, Worvey is the deep back. The quarterback in there is Colt Pillay, and it's Worvey getting a handoff. Worvey getting into the end zone, giving the Explorers a 7-0 lead. Nice little run by Dawson Worvey. And Worvey's a guy that has stepped up. And we mentioned earlier when we checked in on this game, Matt Restifo has kind of been banged up. So Worvey is the guy who has kind of picked up the slack and is helping carry the load. Take a look at that. Penetration in the backfield. Worvey able to avoid the guy and makes a nice job of making that guy miss and gets into the end zone for a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, just really good patient running. Like you said, there was a guy in the backfield, so good footwork, got over him, and then finished the play and got into the end zone. And you love to see that out of a high school running back, that kind of footwork and that kind of patience.
And it looked like the Explorers were lining up to go for 2 potentially there, which no. Okay. Then I'm told no, they got into the normal formation then and are lining up to. If you teams will line up that way if you don't cover something.
Right.
We'll take the extra point anytime we can get it. We'll take the 8 instead of the 7 if we can get it. But again, a nice job of getting into the end zone by Dawson Worvey for the Hudson Explorers.
Next man up.
Yep.
You can't worry about not having a running back, not having one of your better players, not having one of the guys that you thought you were going to rely on all season long. Just find the person that's going to step up, wait for his number to be called, and Matt Worvey's taking advantage of it.
And you know, it's a good thing that Matt Restifo getting healthy, but now because of the way Dawson Worvey's played, you've got a complement. You've got 2 guys, so not as much falls on him to get that done. Interesting update. We'll jump around. We'll go back to the St. Vincent St. Mary's. It's good to hear that Dante Taylor is back in the lineup. He tried to play a couple weeks ago. He didn't play at all against Cardinal Mooney. Tried to play a couple weeks ago against a team from Canada, and he just wasn't himself. They had under 100 yards of total offense against the Canadian prep team. And at that point, Coach Watley, Marcus Watley from St. Vincent St. Mary decided, I'm sitting him out, trying to get him healthy. Right call. The other thing we had talked about, Marcus Watley, first-year head coach, he played for Dan Borman over at Copley. Not a whole lot is going to change about that program. I guarantee you it's the same thing. Obviously, if you lose a senior quarterback, he's a D1 recruit. He's going to Miami of Ohio as a DB, and you have to rely on a 9th grader. He's a very talented 9th grader, but he's still a 9th grader.
Going back to Dante Taylor, you just feel good for the kid.
Yeah.
Because obviously this is a huge rivalry game between the 2 teams. It's his final year, probably his final chance to play against Hoban unless they play in the playoffs like they did last year. Hoban beat St. Vincent St. Mary twice last year. So for Dante Taylor, this is one that he probably had circled on the calendar for so many years, just looking forward to this kind of matchup. You don't want to miss these rivalry games, and for him to be able to fight through what he did and be able to play tonight no matter the result, I think it's something that you feel good for the kid about.
Well, we saw a defensive touchdown for the Aurora Greenmen, and Chris so aptly pointed out they are lighting up scoreboards as well, and the Greenmen offense back at it. Let's go out to Veterans Stadium. There's my first-year quarterback, Mac Austin, getting into the end zone, and you see some of the strength, able to fight out of that arm tackle from a defensive end and get in, and he gives Aurora a 14-0 lead on Barberton. The Greenmen looking strong again. Battle of 3-1 teams. Aurora is one of those teams you don't want to fall behind because you're going to get a big dose of Mac Austin and Bubba Arslanian running the football.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, look at what Mac Austin has done, even in that loss to Solon. 16 of 20, 130 yards, carried the football for 35. Week 2 against Euclid, 6 of 11 for 187 and 3 touchdowns. So this is a guy that can run the ball when they need him to. He can throw the football a little bit too. A typical Aurora quarterback, I guess.
We are going to check in with Copley and Revere. Bill Mayville joins us on the phone. Bill, give us an update. What's going on out there?
Well, we're just started in the second quarter. It's 6-3 Copley. Copley scored on their opening drive. The extra point was blocked. Right now, Revere is driving. They've actually got the ball. Looks like first and goal from the 1-yard line, and looking to punch it in and take the lead here. So far, it's been pretty much what we thought. It's been a heavy dose of Clayton Langdon and Weston Bridges from both teams. So the big backs are going at it.
And Revere hanging in there, trying to take the lead?
Yeah, and it looks like we've got a little pile up here, and we're waiting for a signal from the officials. And it looks like it's a little short. It's going to be second and goal from the 1, it looks like. But, Revere's – there's a late signal. Touchdown, he's in. So, heading the extra point, we're at Revere. Revere's up 9-6 right now. The extra point just about to happen.
All right, we appreciate it. We will check back in with Bill Mayville. He has a Suburban League battle. Is Revere and Copley doing battle. Let's check back in with Bryant Kaiser. This one's getting to be a high-scoring one. Bryant, what's going on at your game?
Like I said, it was a long game, and the Mustangs have just tied us maybe a 14 apiece.
Right. Whoa.
Quarterback with a scramble. He was hit 10 times, but never went down. He scored. They just have a 66-yard punt return for a touchdown. So we 14-14 with the second quarter, 9:50 to go.
All right, Bryant Kaiser, Medina and Strong's. So the Mustangs are saying, hey, guys, relax. We got this. It's 14. We've been behind before. We can handle this. And but in all seriousness, that's a nice job. Medina has the reputation of being a high-scoring team. It's easy if they score a couple of touchdowns to go, woof. But none of that with the Mustangs. They rally, put 14 on the board, and tied up.
Yeah, well, they're saying, okay, you want to talk about Jimmy Daw and John Curtis and Dylan Fultz. Why don't you guys talk about us a little bit, too, all right?
Nice job by the Mustangs.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game, guys, they got to get it. They got to get it. They're 1-3 coming into tonight's game against Medina. They're on the outside looking in terms of the playoff picture. And if they did find a way to beat Medina, you talk about all those playoff points that are up for grabs, and you're talking about continuing dominance over a team that could be something that Strongsville could use moving forward. Get a little confidence, get a little momentum going.
Yeah, and, the thing is if you're Medina, now you're facing a little bit of adversity because they really pushed the first couple teams they played all over the field. Not to be nasty about it, but now – you're up 14. All of a sudden, hey, it's 14-14. We're in a ball game, and Strongsville, those seniors kind of like the fact that they haven't lost to Medina in their school. That's kind of one of those border things. Bragging rights definitely on the line.
Yeah, for sure. And look, you look at Strongsville's schedule coming up too. They've got Medina this week, but they've got Euclid. They've got Solon. They've got Elyria waiting for them in a couple weeks. Mentor's 1-3, but they've got to play Mentor too. I mean, this schedule does not get any easier for them. So every game is a must-win. They're all tough must-wins. So this is kind of a chance for them to build a little character and build a little confidence going into a tough stretch of games.
And talking about Medina as well, for some of those seniors, you get up 14-0, right, and you're starting to think, okay, we're going to get the monkey off our back here. We're feeling really good about ourselves. Now all of a sudden you look up at the scoreboard and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. 14-14.
Back a little bit, yeah.
We might have a little bit tougher game than we thought we were going to have here.
Well, we've mentioned we encourage students to be involved in out at Elder High School down Cincinnati way. They have an outstanding job of producing games. This is from EHS Sports, Elder High School Sports.com. They do a great job. A little bit of a weather delay down Cincinnati way on the field warming up. They play a prep school from Pittsburgh. Boy, that's down at the pit. That's one of my favorite places, right? Not an easy place to play.
Ask St. Ed's about it.
But that is like the nightmare pit for the Eagles. They've lost a couple times down there. But it's loud, it's fun, it's in the middle of a neighborhood. It's everything you want high school football to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so many people talk about Cincinnati Coleraine, obviously.
Yep.
They talk about Cincinnati St. Xavier, and Cincinnati Elders sitting here saying, well, wait a minute, hold on here. The only loss that we have is against Pick Central, a team that's undefeated right now, number 9 in the cleveland.com 25 rankings. We just beat St. Ed's. Start paying attention to us as well. We have some playoff aspirations. We feel like we have a pretty good team. held St. Ed's to 62 yards in the second half of a football game. Tough to do.
And the other thing is that's Elder is part of that Greater Cincinnati League, or Greater Catholic League, rather, GCL. You got LaSalle, you got Moeller, you got St. Xavier, and you got Elder.
Yeah.
Boy, not an easy. That's a pretty tough league right about there.
That's a division. If you think about it, right?
Yeah, it should be. You're right. It should be like Division 8 or something like that.
Division 1, Region 5, maybe something like that.
And that's another team that kind of runs two quarterbacks out there as well. They have Danny Neiman, Michael Bittner, the sophomore they use as more of a runner. But, I mean, you look what some of these guys did against St. Edward. I mean, Neiman, 230 yards and a touchdown against Eds. Neiman had a rushing touchdown. They've got a couple of weapons on offense, and Adam Schwally and Jack Matza. So
they've got
a very, very good football team.
Here's the thing. If you go out and you beat the two-time defending state champs, which St. Ed's is, you're a good football team. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing they're going to be a playoff team. I'm not guaranteeing they're going to win X amount of games. But in order to beat a team like that, because Tom Lombardo has that team very well coached, they are a very good program. In order to win a game against that team, you have to play good football. I didn't see a lot of the game. I did see some of it online. I have no question that Elder played a good football game to win.
And how did they respond to that opening week loss?
3 straight wins.
Yeah.
Three straight wins. And talk about that opening week loss against Pick Central. Again, one of the best teams in all of Ohio. A team that certainly has big-time aspirations. It's not like Elder showed that they didn't belong on the same field, guys. I mean, we're talking about a 20-14 game, tightly contested, a one-score game. So seeing that you can hang with a team like that, probably even in a loss, gives you a lot of confidence, especially when you play against a team like St. Ed's.
Well, we're going to check back in at Veterans Stadium. Aurora taking on Barberton. And we've talked a little bit about this guy, Bubba Arslanian, getting the call. And take a look. Arslanian, little dump off. Take a look. Bubba, and that is a linebacker that can hit like crazy. You saw the way he finished the run. Getting over a tackler and showing his athleticism. Kid got bigger, stronger. He put on about 15, 20 pounds of muscle, and he was pretty muscular to begin with. And he likes to hit. You see 14-0 still. The Aurora Greenmen with Bob Mahalik driving, trying to put another one on the board against the Barberton Magic. And Magic pretty good, and I am told it is now 21-0. So the Greenmen did cash in and make it 21-0. Thanks to that. That run kind of set the stage for a touchdown as Arslanian got him close, and they get into the end zone 21-0.
Talking about Bubba, here's the quote from Bob Mahalik, the head coach at Aurora. He's had some great players come through his program. Quote, "I've been coaching 22 years, and Bubba is in the top 5 players I've ever coached." 22 years, top 5 that he's ever coached. I mean, think about that. And think about some of the players that he's coached.
I'll tell you the other thing. There's some debate that baseball might be his best sport. He may play.
Wow.
He's a catcher and a really good one. He may play college baseball. We're going to check back in on the phones. Matt Gould is covering the Solon and Aurora game. Matt, what's going Solon Euclid, I'm sorry. Solon Euclid. What's going on, Matt?
We're midway through the second quarter right now. Solon is up 19-0. Trick Pass actually wasn't able to get up on Twitter, having some technical difficulties over here. JT Craver on a sweep, actually threw it up to Jacob Curry, and that made the score 19-0. I'm sure you guys have seen some of the highlights from earlier, and that's where we stand right now.
All right, Matt, is Euclid's offensive line able to hold out that defense, or is the defense of the Comets really kind of putting some pressure on that offense?
It's really, so actually, as I'm looking right now, Euclid is driving, and they're down to the 13-yard line right now. Solon's defense is starting to let up just a little bit. But early in the first quarter, it was really just field position for Solon. They were really controlled in the first quarter, but starting to see a little bit of breakaways, some big plays here for Euclid now.
All right, we appreciate it. We'll let you get back and load us some highlights up, so we appreciate you checking in. We're going to head back to the phones. Tim Bielik's going to check in and update us on what's going on from Aurora. What's going on, Tim?
Guys, we got about 5.5 minutes left in the second quarter. Barberton pinned inside us on 20. Aurora up 21-0. Just on the highlights, first quarter, Aurora got a couple turnovers, including an interception return by Jimmy Richards. Second quarter, Aurora's offense really seems to pick it up. They've gone with the zone read. Mac Austin, some nice runs, and you saw Bubba Arslanian, of course, hurdling Barberton C. Smith. He had a 20-yard touchdown off that left side of Barberton. Aurora, it's up 21-0. Barberton just got a nice 18-yard run, so they are now at their 34-yard line, about 5:15 left in the half.
All right, Tim Bielek, we appreciate it. We'll check back in with you. Tim Bielek feeding us some great highlights from that football game. We've seen Mac Austin, and when you have Austin and Arslanian and you can run the zone read, that's a tough matchup for any Division II, Division III team. Those are big guys that like to run hard.
But can we go back to Solon real quick?
Sure.
And Jake McCurry. What is it with Solon? It seems like every year they have like 2 or 3 kids that you feel have been around for about 8 years. He's just one of those guys, it seems like. I think he's been scoring touchdowns for them since 2003. They just find these guys, play them early, and they play well early.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. You talked about the quote on Bubba Arslanian. Jim McQuaid has been coaching 25 years. He's coached at LaSalle. He's coached at St. Ed's. He's been at Solon for a number of years. He told Ryan Kavanaugh and I, when we were doing their game, that Ryan McCurry would start on any one of the teams he's ever coached. He's that big of a player. He's going to go to Columbia and play, so he's getting it done in the classroom as well. But Ryan McCurry, a good one. Let's check in. InfoCision, it's Hoban taking on St. Vincent St. Mary. When last we checked in, the Hoban Knights were leading 7-0. Here is Danny Clark. And he will lower the shoulder and get it. Not your typical quarterback, big guy, kind of has that fullback mentality. He lowers his shoulder, gets into the end zone. 14-0, Hoban leading St. Vincent St. Mary.
And somewhere, Urban Meyer's like, no, not
the shoulder.
Not yet, Danny. We need that shoulder in Columbus. We need you to start throwing some touchdowns for us.
He's a guy, though, that's not known as a runner. I
No.
mean, he is a pro-style quarterback, but he can play like that.
Yeah.
And when he has that opportunity, he can lower that shoulder and
you know,
make
it's kind of
somebody
interesting. Coach Terrell will say, he would love to play linebacker if I would let him. He really has that kind of mindset, and you want him to dial that back.
Yes, right.
Protect the shoulder. There are certain times where it's okay. Don't do it all the time.
Right.
Pick your spots.
Got to protect yourself. Sometimes the offensive line can't protect you necessarily from the defense, so it's up to you to protect yourself. And Danny Clark, admire the effort, my man. Admire the effort. It's a huge game against a rival in St. Vincent St. Mary, but look, you're pretty valuable to the Hoban Knights. If they have playoff aspirations, they're going to need you.
Here's something that stood out to me about him against Canton McKinley. He had a direct hand in Hoban's first 5 touchdowns in that game, either throwing or running. I mean, that's pretty impressive when you have a guy named Todd Sibley behind you that you can hand the football off to.
All right. Well, we had heard about Bubba Arslanian's touchdown that pushed the lead out even further for the Greenmen. And let's go to Veterans Stadium, and it's Aurora taking on Barberton. And we had seen Bubba Arslanian kind of set it up with that run, and here's big number 27. Get out of his way, gets the corner, gets the end zone. 20-yard touchdown run, that makes it 21-0. Bubba Arslanian carrying the load like he always does.
Did anybody touch him on that?
I don't think anybody did.
Yeah, I think those big boys up front deserve a little credit as well on that.
Their line's playing well, without question. And you know, if you put the amount of points on the board that they did against Euclid, it's got to be getting done up front.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a Division I playoff type team that Aurora beat.
Really got the perfect name, too. I mean, he just looks like a Bubba, right?
You know what?
And you know if he's Bubba, he's not playing cornerback.
No.
He's not playing wide receiver. No. He's playing linebacker and running back so he can hit some people.
And he likes hitting people, and he hits people. He jumps out on the defensive side of the ball because, you know, again, I've called a couple of their games, and it's like, oh, that's how a linebacker's supposed to hit.
Yep.
Well, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. Colerain, our number 1 team in the Super 25 from down Cincinnati way. They played on Thursday against Sycamore, and the Colerain Cardinals got it done. Very impressive showing why they are the top-ranked team in the state. Ranked as one of the top teams in the country by some. Here's their quarterback that's been banged up. Gunnar Leidendecker, injured on the first series. His replacement came in, Deontay Smith-Moore. First play he was in, 3rd and goal, and it's a pretty good one. Pitch to Manilow Caldwell, and he powers in from 7 yards out, 7-0 Colerain. After a turnover, gave the Cards a short field. Smith-Moore, a good fake, and he keeps it, and it's 14-0 Colerain in a hurry. Third possession, weapons all over the field for the Colerain Cardinals. Jaron Davis, look at that on the jet sweep, the size of that hole. Davis says, see you later, gotta go. 44-yard touchdown, 21-0 Cards. Second quarter, Sycamore scored. It was 21-7. Colerain answers quickly. There's Caldwell. Ran over people earlier. Big fullback can run by people, too. Look at Caldwell go, 52 yards. Colerain 5-0. They beat Sycamore by a final score of 52-7. And that was a game that was seen live on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. And the Colerain Cardinals earning every bit of that respect they have as the top-ranked team in the state of Ohio. And that's a team that's just, you mentioned their quarterback's been banged up. They bring a sophomore in, and the offense doesn't miss a beat. That's a team that always has a big physical linebacker, or a big physical fullback.
Yep.
They will run the triple option at times. Their quarterback can usually throw out of it as well. They'll hit the tight ends. They can throw it down deep. It's just a tough offense to deal with.
Yeah, and quick strike, too. That's the other thing they can do. Usually when you kind of look at a game, one of the first things you look at is time of possession, right? Who controlled the football? That team probably won. Colerain had the ball for less than 6 minutes in the first half, and they put up 45 points and 220 yards.
It's incredible.
They lost time of possession, but there was a good reason. They kept going right to the end zone.
Yeah, they didn't just lose time of possession. They got blown out in time of possession, and it was still not even close.
Yeah, sometimes those time of possession things are a little misleading. Let's head back to the phones. We'll check in an update at InfoCision. Ryan Isley. Ryan, what's going on with Hoban and St. Vincent St. Mary?
Hey, guys, it was 7-0 last time we spoke. Since then, Hoban's put 2 more scores on the board to make it 21-0. Hoban is just taking advantage of short fields all night long. 34-yard drive. Todd Sibley picked up a first down on a 3rd and 1 with a 15-yard run to put him at the 1-yard line. Danny Clark punched it in from 3 after a penalty. First play for St. V after the kickoff was a pick for Hoban. John Bazzelli intercepted it and took it inside the 10. St. V scored on a pass from Danny Clark to Garrett Hauser. And right now it is all Archbishop Hoban here, the number 7 ranked team in the cleveland.com Ohio Super 25. They're up over arch rival St. V St. M. It's 21-0 now with 5:07 to go in the second period.
All right, we appreciate it, Ryan. We'll check back in with you. And you saw, as Ryan was talking, that touchdown pass. Garrett Hausler has become Danny Clark's favorite target. A couple of the guys graduated, but Hausler is a guy that really is getting it done, catching the football from Danny Clark. And he caught that touchdown pass back of the end zone. And again, they have a couple of guys that can catch the football as well to match those 2 outstanding backs, Sibley and William Collier.
Yeah, and that's what you need when you have running backs like that. All you've got to have is guys that can get down the field and catch the football when you run those play actions. And when teams have to stack the box a little bit to try and slow them down, you're going to get one-on-one matchups on the outside. And if you have guys that are fast or big or fast and big, you can beat people down the field pretty easily.
And, a lot was made of some of the guys that graduated. And Hoban did graduate some very good players. Jonah Morris, linebacker, wide receiver, who was Clark's big guy last year as a receiver and also played safety linebacker. But they return a couple guys on the offensive line. Nolan Rumler, left tackle, is huge. He started, true story, started as a freshman last year, first game out of the box. And the coach told us, he was kind of sheepish about it. He goes, we had him practicing with the freshmen, and the freshman coach came over and said, you need to get this guy out of here because he's going to kill one of these little ninth graders. And he'd he'd plug him in, and there are a lot of Division I college programs that are looking at Nolan Rumler, a sophomore who goes about 6'4", 285, and I'm told he's slimmed down and got more muscular. And he was pretty muscular to begin with. I don't know how you get that big at 14 or 15, but he is.
I'm glad I don't do the grocery shopping.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
It's even better that you don't have to try to get around him, or that it's kind of scary when he's coming at you, because I mean he was a guy in that state championship game that was collapsing the entire side of the line, and they were running behind him. So
it's football. It's a rivalry game. You never want to say a game is necessarily over. But Irish fans, and yes, you too, LeBron James, probably not feeling too good about being in a 21-0 hole, considering the fact that Hoban has not given up 21 all season long. The most they've given up so far this year, 14 points. So that defense has been the calling card for the Knights. It's been leading to state championships. A tough spot for St. Vincent St. Mary to be in, especially given the struggles of their offense in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's time for us to step aside, take a quick time out. As we go to break, we'll take a live look in at Hudson from Hudson Community Television. Hudson leading North Royalton 14-0. You're watching the Friday Night Huddle. We'll be back after a quick timeout.
Wednesday nights, more sports and Les Levine is live at 6. Then at 7, Access Crew SC. And at 7:30, High School Blitz Preview. It all starts Wednesday night at 6. Follow us on social media at TWC Sports OH. Across town and across the region, this is where fans belong. Time Warner Cable, Sports Channel.
Save the tax, save a bundle. This week at Mattress Warehouse, save $900 on our best-selling Sealy Pillow Top with gel foam, just $4.99, and receive a discount equal to the sales tax and a free TV. In fact, save the tax and get a free TV with our most popular Sealy sets. Plus, get 5 years, 0% APR financing and same or next day delivery with qualifying purchases. Save the tax, save a bundle. This week at Mattress Warehouse.
As World Heavyweight Champion, Clevelander, and spokesman for Nature Stone, we'd like to present you with our own award.
Wow, it's awesome.
We had it made ourselves. It's made of...
Not the award, the floor.
Oh, it's Nature Stone.
Installed over concrete, Nature Stone flooring is tough, durable, long-lasting, and beautiful. Act now and get up to 50% off.
This is the only time you'll see me on the floor.
To schedule your free in-home consultation, go to naturestone.com today.
Join Neil Zika and Matt Finkus for the biggest moments, top highlights,
Check out that hit.
and in-depth analysis from around Ohio. High School Blitz, Friday nights at 11 with preview shows on Wednesday, only on Time Warner Cable, Sports Channel.
Welcome back inside the Friday Night Huddle, along with Dan Labbe from cleveland.com, Chris Fedor from cleveland.com. I'm Dave Bacon. Glad you joined us. We've been following a number of games, constant updates. We've got another update. Let's head back to Veterans Stadium in Aurora. Barberton Magic taking on the Aurora Greenmen, and 21-0 Aurora leading. And take a look, there's the man, Zane Reed, and Kobe Booker grabs it for the touchdown. The Magic on the scoreboard and cut the lead to 21-7. Zane Reed to Kobe Booker. That was a pretty pass. Nice job by the big fella to get out there and grab it.
And good for a team like Barberton. Just points on the board. Try and see if you can get yourself in position.
Slow down the momentum. Football is a game of such emotion. You start falling behind and things start going wrong. Nothing like scoring a touchdown.
Right.
Just slow everything down. Get back and regroup. And, Zane Reed is too good of a quarterback to completely hold down. So a nice job by Zane Reed. Good throw, good catch. Barberton on the scoreboard.
And he does a good job of spreading the ball around, too. Against Cuyahoga Falls back in week 3, 7 different players had receptions. You like to see that, especially, when you're trying to run that spread offense, you got to spread the ball around. You've got to make sure you're getting a lot of different guys involved. So you like to see him get more guys involved. And look, we've talked about Bob Mahalik can run that clock out, but that game's not over because Barberton can score and score so quickly.
And taking nothing away from Aurora, great team. We've talked about them all night long. The only loss so far against Solon early on in the season. You wonder, though, for a team like Barberton, coming off a tough 1-point loss last week against Copley, you just kind of wonder how much there was a little hangover effect going into this game against Aurora. You would like to say, okay, they're playing against Aurora, they're going to be ready, they're going to be prepared, they're going to be up for this game because it's a huge game. But when you suffer a 1-point loss, a tough 1-point loss a week ago against a team like Copley, sometimes it takes you a little bit of time to get your bearings again.
Yeah, and you know, Copley, again, that's a team that's really well thought of. I think that's a team you're going to be hearing a lot of. I think they're going deep in the playoffs. They're experienced. As long as they stay healthy, very good quarterback in Austin Brenner, very good running back in Weston Bridge. There's no that's a outstanding job to be that close with Copley. I think that's, if anything, if you're Barberton, you should be taken away from that. Guys, we're legit.
Yeah.
If we can hang with one of the teams that's, you know, a favorite to go deep in the playoffs.
You never know, though. You never know how a team is
You're
going
right.
to respond
Again,
or kids
as
are going to
we've
respond.
said.
That's one way to look at it for sure, yes.
As we've said, if you know how a 17 or 18-year-old is going to respond, come over to my house and help me because I got a couple of them and I'd love to know.
That's always the challenge
Exactly.
in high school football, isn't it? You just never know what else is going on in the background with personal lives and academics, and it's just it's a lot for these kids to juggle.
As you look at it, though, a heck of a job. You know, Zane Reed, very well thought of. So so let's see. Can Barberton now get a little bit of momentum? You know, all of a sudden it's like, guys, we can, you know, look at this. We can move the ball. We got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, the pick six is the big thing that kind of, you know, takes the wind out of your sails. Anytime the defense scores, and so, you know, the pick six by Aurora early kind of set the stage for that.
And the other thing for a team like Barberton, they can just sit there and they can say to themselves, hey, look, Aurora's got the name recognition. Aurora is the powerhouse. Aurora is the team in Division II, Region 5 that has been there for so many years. Just take a look at the standings, take a look at the playoff standings, and say, hey, we're only one spot away from that kind of team. So no reason for Barberton to not have confidence, especially with the offense that it has.
And adversity is a good thing. Whether they come back to win or not, if they can fight back and face some adversity, that's going to help you because it is only week 5. You still have 5 games left after this. So as a football team, you've got to go through some things together. Good things, bad things, you've got to grow like that if you want to do anything if you do get to the playoffs.
Well, another game that we're following, St. Ignatius taking on Walsh Jesuit. Michael Coute is our man at that game at Walsh Jesuit. Michael, what's going on with the Wildcats and the Warriors?
It is now 20-0 St. Ignatius lead at halftime. So far, we have a 34-yard we have a Rubisky 8-yard run in the first quarter, also a 34-yard field goal try from St. Ignatius. In the second quarter, we have Patrick Ryan in a 6-yard run to make that 17-0, and also we have a 20-yard field goal try from Matthew Trickett. So right now, it is 20-0 St. Ignatius lead at halftime. Mike Coute from cleveland.com.
All right, Michael, we appreciate it. And you can be sure the Wildcats not in a good mood after making the 2.5, 3-hour drive to Detroit Central Catholic and coming away with an overtime loss when they had the lead late in the fourth quarter. So, you know, Patrick Ryan, I got to see him early in the year in a really good performance against Menor, and I was really impressed. He's what you expect from a St. Ignatius quarterback. He's poised. He kind of goes through his progressions. He's able to find plays on the backside of plays, and from everything I heard, they shot themselves in the foot and turned the ball over against Detroit Central Catholic. Did not see that game, but turnovers the story of that. So you clean that up and you get headed back on the right direction.
And he mentioned the rushing touchdown too, and St. Ignatius can really run the football this year.
They're
with
big.
Jimmy Andrews, Mark Babinski. You know, you look at Menor, they had, let me find it here, over 200 yards running the football. So this is a team that takes the pressure off of the quarterback a little bit and allows him to operate in an offense where he doesn't have to be the star. Maybe he's got the capability to be the star, but he doesn't have to be.
Yeah, they graduated Liam Eichenberg, left tackle, and they plugged in a kid named Kennard, and he's just as big. There's nobody on their two deep.
Right.
Those are the first and second string offensive. Nobody on their two deep is under 265.
Yep.
And they all can move their feet, and they're all athletic, and it looks like they are college linemen.
Yeah.
So,
and Spellacy,
Spellacy,
East Carolina commit.
Center,
And going back to Patrick Ryan, though, I mean, big shoes that he had to fill here.
Well, yeah.
Dennis Grosel is a guy who, on his way to Boston College.
I was really impressed with Dennis Grosel last year.
Right.
But, you know, St. Ignatius is one of those programs where you wait your turn.
Right.
And when it comes, you've been waiting so long, you're going to take advantage. And I think that's the case with Patrick Ryan.
Yeah.
You know, he probably could have gone somewhere and been a starting quarterback last year.
Probably.
But he wanted to be a quarterback at St. Ignatius. There's something about that. It goes back to Joe Pickens, Brian Hoyer, those kind of guys. And this is his chance, and he was shining.
And I think Dan makes a really good point too. If you're playing quarterback for St. Ignatius, you just don't want to be the guy that's going to put the defense in a bad position, because you have the confidence in the defense that the defense is going to go out there and usually shut down the opponent. And you have the confidence in a guy like Jimmy Andrews, Mark Babinski. So you just want to, I don't want to say manage the game, because he's much more than that, and he's shown himself to be much more than that. But you just want to continue to get your offense in the right positions, execute the offense the way that you know how, but don't try and do too much.
And Chuck Kyle is never going to put you in a position where you have to be out of character either. He's always going to allow you as a quarterback to just be who you are. And he's not going to force things. He'll punt the ball when he needs to. He's not afraid to do that. He's not afraid to put the ball in the hands of his defense. He's always going to put his quarterbacks in a position where they can just be who they are, whether that's a star, whether that's, like you said, a game manager type of quarterback. Chuck Kyle's going to play to your strengths.
Let's head back to the phones and check in with Tim Bielik. Tim, an update. What's going on now?
Well, guys, we're at halftime in Aurora. Our three-man lead, 21-7. Barberton got a touchdown back. About a minute 8 to go. Shane Reeves to Kobe Booker, 30 yards. A really nice over-the-shoulder play by Booker to get Barberton some points going into the half. And that last drive for Barberton really showed, I think, a little bit of Shane Reeves' ability to make things happen. Like, he hasn't had a lot of time to throw the football, but he's been very elusive. He's made some nice plays, and even though he's had the 2 interceptions, he's done enough, I think, to keep Barberton in the game at the moment.
All right, Tim Bielik, we have a halftime show going on in the background there as Tim gives us the update. Tim, we appreciate it. Great stuff. We'll check back in with you. We appreciate all the good highlights you've sent us as well. So Tim Bielik checking in with Aurora and Barberton. Let's head back to the phones. We're going to check in with a fan. It's Russ from the Solon game. Russ, thanks for calling us here on the Friday Night Huddle. What's on your mind, Russ?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm doing some work here, so I'm following the Solon game real closely. And I'm not sure who's the real Solon team, the one that's was struggling recently offensively, or the one that is, quite frankly, with 3 touchdown passes and a defensive touchdown, putting the wood to a good Euclid team tonight.
Well, you know, it's a little of both. I think they probably struggled because the defense for the Stowe Bulldogs is pretty good. They did put up 53 against Brunswick last week, so that's a pretty good team that they struggled with defensively. Give Stowe some credit, but that offense is pretty special. Thomas Wilkes has really done a nice job in his first year as the starting tailback. I love Joe Bubonics as a quarterback.
Yeah, sure.
McCurry, Sinclair, the wideouts. And the other thing that I really like about the Comets is that linebacking core. They are all over the field. Matt Brown's their middle linebacker. I mean, I've seen him go sideline to sideline on back-to-back plays, far sideline to near sideline. I think that defense is a little underrated. But, Russ, to answer your question, I think their offense is really, really good.
Absolutely. One quick question in general, if I can ask. I know that cleveland.com stopped doing the Cleveland area top 25 and went to the Ohio top 25. I always used to like that local flavor. Was there any reason that they decided to go more of a statewide versus who's in the top 25? It was always so great to look at that every week.
I think we just wanted to kind of give a full picture of the state of Ohio because there is so much great football in the state of Ohio. It gives kind of an opportunity to not just judge the local teams, but kind of judge them up against the likes of Cincinnati schools, Columbus schools. Because, hey, at some point, these Northeast Ohio schools, if they want to win state championships, they're going to have to beat some of these schools from Cincinnati and Columbus. So I think that's really kind of the gist of it.
That's where you want to go. Guys, great job as always.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much, Russ. And, it's the information age, and it kind of everything is expanded globally. And, for high school football, globally means statewide. I mentioned Joe Bubonics. Joe Bubonics had the chance to probably be an all-state safety this year. Switched over to play quarterback because that's what the Comets needed him to do. Joe Bubonics has answered the call and then some. Joe Bubonics, a great quarterback. Let's take a look.
I can always say that he's a really good player, but he's a better person. He's from a better family than he is a player. So I don't know if you can say anything better about someone than that. So we're glad he's on our side, that's for sure.
He, in this case, is Joe Bubonics, Solon's first-year quarterback who had a good chance to be an All-Ohio defensive back this season, but switched positions because the Comets needed a signal caller on offense.
First of all, it's a great honor to play quarterback for this school, and switching over was made a lot easier by the coaches. They gave me everything I needed to know, and then we just got to play. And the team around me, they make it easy for me.
He was a tremendous leader of our defense the last 2 years. And for him to just say, I'll be the quarterback and totally change his role. You have people saying he's the potential to be an all-Ohio safety, but that's on the back burner because our team needs him to be the leader on offense. And I give him a lot of credit, him and his family and everything they've done. We always talk about being a true Solon Comet, and I think that's a perfect example of it.
Bubonics has grown up around the Solon football program. His father, Ed, has been Solon's defensive coordinator for 14 years. Joe just wants to win as a senior, and he realizes playing quarterback gives the Comets the best chance at winning this year.
Just the leadership role you have. You get to lead the team. You have all the control in that huddle, and you have the control to make reads on the field, on and off the field especially. It's a big honor to play quarterback, as again I said. I love defense, and I always will, but I like scoring touchdowns too. And so it's kind of mutual. Plus my dad's the defensive coordinator, so playing for him was something special, but also playing offense is really cool.
Leadership and poise are two of Bubonic's strengths. He was the starting catcher on the Comets baseball team that went to the Final Four a season ago. And as a quarterback, he's a dual threat guy that finds a way to beat defenses.
He's a very good player. He's been a varsity baseball player for 4 years this year. Football, same thing. He's composed. He does a good job. And he's one of our captains, one of our leaders. For us to be good, your good players have to lead the way.
And without question, Joe Bubonics leading the way for the Solon Comets as they have opened up a nice halftime lead on the Euclid Panthers. Interesting note, we mentioned his dad, Ed Bubonics. He is the third leading receiver all time for Mount Union. First, Cecil Shorts from Collinwood, who played in the NFL. Fifth, Pierre Garçon, who's still playing in the NFL. So pretty good company that Ed Bubonics, Joe's dad, keeps as far as the all-time leading receivers in Mount Union football history.
Yeah, those guys were pretty good.
Yeah,
the
the Division III guys that end up in the NFL. And that's how good of a receiver. He's been the defensive coordinator for Jim McQuaid all 15 years that he's been at Solon. So,
and going back to something that Russ asked, he was a little bit hard on the Solon offense, I would say. The thing that I would say to Russ, too, is that teams go through an evolution period. And for a team like Solon, we mentioned it. Thomas Wilkes took over. It's his first year as the starting running back, and Joe Bubonics is going from defensive back to quarterback. So obviously there's going to be a transition, and unfortunately for Solon, they have to play their first game of the year against a team the caliber of Aurora, and there's Stowe in week 3. So there's just this time where Bubonics probably needed a little bit of time to get adjusted to being a quarterback, and he probably needed to get the chemistry with his wide receivers and all those things. And I would think that Solon probably is going to be one of those teams that is at its best at the very end of the season because he's got all those games under his belt as a quarterback.
They returned a lot. They returned 17 guys from a year ago that had significant playing time, and they went to the second round of the playoffs and lost to Stowe, the eventual state semifinalists.
And you mentioned that Stowe defense. They gave up 41 to Green to start the season, but since then, 14 against Kent, 10 against Solon. They gave up 14 against Wadsworth last week, and those 14 points came in the fourth quarter on a running clock with the second team out there. It was a shutout up until then. So that is, aside from that Green game, that's an excellent
That's a good defense. There's no question. Let's head back to the phones. We'll check in on the Revere-Copley game with Bill Mayville. Bill, what's going on with Revere and Copley?
Hey guys, so we reached halftime at Copley, and Revere's hanging in there. The score is 20-13 since the last time we spoke. Weston Bridges broke loose for 2 touchdown runs, 31 and 20 yards to take a 20-10 lead, and Revere cut into it right before halftime with a 32-yard field goal by Giltner. So we're sitting at 20-13. It's been pretty much what we expected it was going to be. It's a big running back show. Unofficially, I've got Weston Bridges at 15 carries for 140 yards and 2 scores.
Wow.
And Langton for Revere, I've got him at 14 carries for 84 yards and 1 touchdown. So it's been pretty much what we've expected so far. It's a close game, and we're looking forward to a fun second half here.
All right, Bill Mayville covering the Revere-Copley game. We'll check back in with Bill third quarter as things get rolling. That's a heck of a job by Revere to hang. I mean, Weston Bridges is going to get his yards. That's a young man that's headed to Michigan State, one of the top running backs in the area without question.
Yeah, and you're coming off a 48-0 loss. You've got to show something the next week, especially with Aurora coming up soon. You've got Barberton at the end of the year. So Revere, this is kind of a big prove-it moment for them because you got off to that 3-0 start.
Right.
And then you played a very good Highland team, and they rolled you. They beat you 48-0. This is your chance to bounce back and prove something.
And Revere was outgained in that game, 319-75. So to see their tailback, Clayton Langdon, get off to the start that he's gotten off to tonight against Copley and hold his own on the same field as a guy like Bridges, it's got to give him some confidence, and I would think that it's got to give the Minutemen some confidence as well.
Yeah, and Highland is one of those teams, they run the zone read and they run it extremely well. So that's a tough team to prepare for. Yeah. You don't see the offense at the level they run it very often. So I could see where that can kind of snowball and get away from you. So, but you know what? Credit to Revere. They're hanging. Copley is a really good team, and they're right there at halftime.
And Revere's bringing back 9 starters on offense, 7 on defense. So these are guys that have been together kind of through the down times here and trying to turn this program around. And that helps when you've been around the same guys and you've played together and been through things together.
Again, Copley leading Revere, but the Minutemen still definitely in it, able to run the football as well. Let's go back to the St. Ignatius game. Again, that's one of those where Walsh is kind of trying to get things back in order, and it's a tough matchup for the Warriors. But if you're St. Ignatius, that's the way you want to come out. You want to come out and you want to run the football. They've got a couple rushing touchdowns. They've got the ball in deep. They've converted. They've got very good place kicker in Matthew Trickett, soccer guy that also will kick as well, kick field goals as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is homecoming at Hudson, and a live look-in. I'm going to spoil the surprise. Matthew Rustifo, the star running back, is the homecoming king. And actually, I apologize. I was told who the homecoming queen was. She's a cross-country runner.
Oh.
So 2 athletes are the king and queen. So points to them. And you see on the court there's a couple of football players, but number 22 in the background there is the homecoming king. And they really would like to get him 100% healthy and get him back going because he is a big play threat.
And who says the running back spot is dying, guys? Nobody told that.
That's all we've been talking about tonight, really.
That's exactly right. You've got Todd Sibley, you've got the 2 playing in the Revere-Copley game, and you've got the homecoming king. He's not the quarterback. No, not the wide receiver. He's the running back. The position's making a return, just not in the NFL.
And he does play some wide receiver too. So, let's check back in the phone with Bryant Kaiser. Bryant, you had a wild one. What's going on with Strongsville and Medina now?
I gotta have a wild one. It's my 48th birthday, so every time the Browns play on my birthday, they lost. So I gotta have a good football game. So it's 28-20 at the half. Medina. Jimmy Dog caught a 45-yard touchdown pass. That's his 18th touchdown of the season. He has 16 rushing touchdowns. So, and Johnny Major, the quarterback for Mustangs, he ran one in. So the Mustangs get the ball back, started the second half. They missed their extra point was blocked. So.
All right. Well, Bryant, you need to tell Jimmy Daw not to score all those touchdowns early. Save some of them for later in the year. 18 touchdowns through 5 weeks. Yeah, don't burn yourself out, Jimmy. There's still 5 weeks of regular season and the playoffs. So
saying touchdown after you say Jimmy Daw is kind of redundant. It's just kind of assumed.
Well, here is our homecoming king. You kind of got to like the blue crown that they give to the king. Again, Matt Restifo, homecoming king. His homecoming festivities at halftime continue for the Hudson Explorers, leading that game over North Royalton as well. Our live look-ins, courtesy of Hudson Community Television. Students do a great job over there at Hudson, getting us some video of that game tonight.
Yeah, they really do, and you love to see those opportunities for students to do broadcasts, and whether it's TV, audio, streaming, whatever. It's always great to kind of see those opportunities present themselves for high school football.
And we also have to thank the station manager, rather, Carrie Polachek, for helping us out, giving us that live look in. We're going to take a quick time out. You see the number if you want to get involved. If you have an update, give us a shout, 216-575-0403. It's the Friday Night Huddle. The Pet is getting some movement. Is Elder getting ready to take on Pittsburgh Prep from Philadelphia away. Friday Night Huddle. We'll be right back.
People got stomped and killed. It was a brutal game.
It was a decade of excellence.
Football fans, huddle up. Friday nights are about to change forever with Friday Night Huddle. From pregame to postgame and everything in between, Friday Night Huddle is the place for Ohio football action. Combining the resources of cleveland.com, Classic Teleproductions, and Time Warner Cable Sports Channel, Friday Night Huddle gives you unprecedented coverage. You can be part of the action, get updates as they happen, on cable, online, and on point. Friday Night Huddle.
Nobody gives you more ways to save on Tempur-Pedic than Mattress Warehouse. Save hundreds on special purchase Tempur-adjustable bases. Your bed goes up, your bed goes down. But hurry, these won't last long. Save up to $1,000 on select Tempur-Breeze models while supplies last. A queen Tempur-adjustable set is just $34 a month. All come with 5-year 0% APR financing or a free TV. Nobody gives you more ways to save on Tempur-Pedic than Mattress Warehouse.
I'm Stipe Miocic, world heavyweight champion for Nature Stone, and Cleveland's first hometown champ. Fighting can be brutal, so can mold, mildew, or flooding on your basement carpet or tile. Get Nature Stone and never replace your basement flooring again.
Hurry, act now. Get Nature Stone and save up to 50%. That's up to 50% off authentic Nature Stone flooring.
Nature Stone, like me, simply the best.
Act now. Call or visit naturestone.com today.
The Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education program has been recognizing students and teachers who shine both in and out of the classroom since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com and click on Supporting Education. Students in kindergarten through 12th grade are eligible to be academic all-stars. K through 12 teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible to be honored as the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Monday night is the night for Ohio Sports Talk, and it's all on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. At 6, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason takes your calls live on More Sports and Les Levine. Then at 7, Dave Bacon and the boys unload on the week in sports on Armchair Quarterbacks. And at 8, Bruce Hooley's out to make you the smartest sports fan around. Ohio's biggest night in sports talk. Monday nights only on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel.
Welcome back inside the Friday Night Huddle. Dan Labbe from cleveland.com, Chris Fedor from cleveland.com, Dave Bacon. Guys, we had touched on this game a little bit earlier in the broadcast. Mentor, 1-3 on the year, needing perhaps to win out. Mm-hmm. At least that's what Coach Trevisano is saying. Taking on 3-1 Shaker Heights. Message received by the Cardinals players. 34-0 at half. Men are leading Shaker Heights.
Yeah, this is a team that has some work to do. And listen, I mean, look at who they've played. Massillon, St. Ignatius, St. Xavier, Euclid. Their schedule doesn't get any easier either. They've got Solon coming up. They've got Medina. But yeah, they've put themselves in a hole with that new format, the old format now back for Division I, the 4 regions. There's not a lot of wiggle room to lose 3 games and still get into the playoffs.
Yeah, the one advantage that the Cardinals do have is they've got teams with a lot of wins, so those wins add up to points. Let's, of course, cleveland.com is your source for updates and scores. Let's take a look inside at the scoreboard update, and we'll take a look at what's going on. And Cleveland Heights, 32-0. Benedictine out in Columbus, a 7-0 lead on Watterson. So we touched on Solon. Solon, an outstanding job. Midview rebounding pretty nicely.
Need to rebound, yeah.
It's a team that can score.
Wadsworth, it's a team that's kind of young, new head coach. 14-0 lead. That's very nice. North Olmsted shutting out Lakewood currently. So all these right around half, early third quarter type scores. And you see 28-0 North Olmsted leading Lakewood at the current time. And, of course, as we mentioned, Mentor with that 34-0 lead.
And going back to Shaker Heights, too, for a minute, this is a team that probably felt pretty good going into this matchup against Mentor, feeling good about themselves, feeling good about their chances against a team like Mentor. You've got Shaker Heights coming off the win last week against Strongsville, 30-26. Their quarterback throws for a career high. Jameer Dismukes, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns. So they're probably saying, okay, if there's a time that we're going to get the Mentor Cardinals, it's going to be this year. And all of a sudden, a shock to the system for the Raiders that it's a Mentor team that's 1-3, but that 1-3 is a little deceiving because of that schedule that they play.
That 1-3 is graded on the curve, as they say. Let's head to Mike Fitzpatrick. He's at Westlake and Avon. Mike, what's going on with the Eagles and the Demons?
Oh, yeah, it's halftime here. The band's playing. It's homecoming, and Avon is up 21-7. Outstanding running back Mason McElmore has 2 touchdowns. He scored on the second play from scrimmage for Avon, 63 yards. They were up 7-0. He added a 5-yard score later in the game. And their quarterback, Matt Kelly, also has a 1-yard touchdown run. Westlake scored at the end of the half, 21-7. And Avon is pretty confident.
Well, the Eagles are, they're the top-ranked team in the state in Division II in the AP poll, and there's pretty good reason for that. Is Westlake kind of hanging with them, or has that score maybe even a little bit misleading?
Well, I mean, they've hung with them a little bit. I mean, it's not like it's a total domination, but, I mean, Avon's been able to move the ball pretty well. They got a short field for one of their touchdowns. They've had actually 2 touchdowns called back but Westlake's been battling. Their quarterback is an opportunistic guy. He likes to run and throw and maybe try. Roy Alawis has got a touchdown pass. Got a little, rhythm go with this wide receiver, Connor Tourniquet, and they've got a running back, 27, who can pick up some yards. But they're not getting blown out. But I mean, they've got a long road to come back. And Avon, would have to make some mistakes for that to happen.
All right, Mike Fitzpatrick at Avon and Westlake, and yeah, we appreciate the update. That Avon offense will spread you out, and if you spread out, they'll run the ball, and if you kind of pack it in a little bit, they'll throw the ball. And a lot of people mistake the fact that a spread offense actually puts more emphasis on tackling in the open field and makes running the football a little bit easier, and that's what Mike Elder and the Eagles have been doing.
Yeah, it's about quick passes to guys in space, and like you said, getting one-on-one matchups, putting defenders and getting to those third corners, those fourth corners, those guys that maybe aren't as good, especially at the high school level when you're getting that deep in the cornerback rotation. And Matt Kelly's a guy that's gotten reps behind Jake Sopko because Avon blew out teams so often in the past. Matt Kelly has gotten a lot of valuable reps in those situations. So he's a new quarterback, but he's been around the system for a little while and he's played before.
And Jake Sopko graduated a year ago, Division I quarterback, a guy that, very effective, strong arm, big kid, everything you would want in a college quarterback, Jake Sopko is. So.
And I think with Westlake, so much of it is about perspective here, guys, because yes, they're playing against Avon. It's a team that they lost last year to 56-13. They're trying to measure themselves against Avon, but they're also trying to get to where Avon is at, which is at the top of the SWC. Even if they lose to Avon tonight, they're still in pretty good position in terms of the playoffs in Division II, Region 6, and they've got some games on the schedule where maybe they can make up some ground. So even though this is a big game and it's a measuring stick game and they're trying to get to the spot where Avon is, the top of the SWC, you got to keep it in perspective and understand that it's a long season, and Westlake, if they do have playoff aspirations, right now they're in the playoff picture, and they probably still will even after a loss against Avon.
Yeah, without question. This is just the second year for Jason Hall over at Westlake. Let's check in with the Elder Panthers taking on Pittsburgh Central Catholic Academy, and they're on the doorstep right at the about the 1.5 yard line down at the pit. You see the purple of the Panthers lining up to try to get it done. And they, in fact, do have Danny Neiman, the quarterback. And he gives it to Jake Mazza, and Mazza into the end zone for the touchdown and a 7-0 Elder Panther lead. 6-0, point after coming. So it most likely will be 7-0. But I know that's why they kick the extra points. It's kind of like that's why they play the games. You gotta. But Jake Mazza in from a yard out. So you see early in that first quarter, the Elder Panthers rolling again early. It's just a tough place to play. They don't call it the pit for nothing, guys. It's a tough place to play. It is one of my absolute favorite. And the point after is good. So now I'm
breathing a sigh of relief.
I was
over
foreshadowing.
There.
It's 7-0. But that's one of my absolute favorite places in Ohio to watch and call football games is the pit down in Elder.
It is a great play. Man, that run in was almost too easy.
Yeah. Well, this is a team in Elder. They seem to have the formula. We've talked about a lot of teams and a lot of high-scoring teams here. It's about blocking for your quarterback. It's about getting after the quarterback. And if you have a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, you got the triplets, let's call them, in high school football, you're going to have a chance. And Elder has Neiman, Schwally, Mazza.
Yeah.
Tough to hang with that kind of trio.
And you know what? They actually back it up with a couple guys wide receiver-wise, too. Fallacy is a junior who's getting it done as well, and Trishner. So they have a sophomore who actually has a bunch of receptions as well. We've talked about people that have moved on, and teams are like, oh, we graduated. Well, Elder's a team that Tommy Kramer, offensive lineman, graduated last year, went to Notre Dame. Peyton Ramsey had played quarterback there forever, went to Indiana. It's a program.
Yes.
Right. Doug Ramsey, the head coach, Peyton's dad, has built it to a program. And they're competitive year in, year out.
I think you hit on a term right there, Dave. because there's a difference between a team and a program. And some teams are showing why they're still teams and they're in the growing stages of becoming programs, whereas other teams are programs and they can lose guys and then they can bring quarterbacks in. Look at Avon. Avon loses Sopko, loses Choate, but that's okay because they've got guys waiting in the wings and they've got guys that they can trust because it's a program that Mike Elder has built.
Yeah, and the thing is, at a place like that, you have to wait. And sometimes waiting is a really good thing in terms of football because it makes you take advantage when your opportunities come. And I think you're seeing that at Avon. I think you're seeing that at Elder as well.
Yeah, and when you have a team, too, that is really good, we talked about it with Matt Kelly, you're going to have some opportunities along the way where you're going to be able to get some of these young guys in. And maybe those reps might not be as meaningful as, a close fourth quarter. But there's still game reps. There's still opportunities for guys to get out there, run your plays against players that aren't your teammates, players that are trying to stop you. And that's valuable for guys. Again, going back to Matt Kelly, going back to guys for Elder who have played in situations where maybe the game was a blowout, but they were still able to get there and get some reps.
Let's head back to the phones. Matt Gould joins us. Matt, what is going on with Solon and Euclid? Are you there?
It's been a It's been all Euclid in this one. They added another touchdown late, almost added more on a fumble loss by Euclid on the kick return. It's been all Solon, except for the one bright spot for Euclid is Daquan Pruitt's got about 110 yards rushing for them at the half unofficially. But it's really been all Comets, and it's the turnovers, 2 fumbles lost for Euclid has really kind of added and bubbled and boiled this deficit, which I updated you guys on earlier. Joe Bubonic's about 129 yards passing at half for Solon. Those are probably the numbers that jump out to me. Thomas Wilkes, 56 yards rushing for the Comets as well. And that's where we stand here at the half.
Matt, has that Solon defense, is that kind of the difference there? That have they created the turnovers, or has it kind of been Euclid self-inflicted wounds type of thing?
I think it's been a little bit of both. I mean, when you have the fumbleitis like that, it's really been more of just, not 2 hands on the football for Euclid. Solon really dictated the tempo in the first quarter. They chewed the clock a little bit, but they really forced Euclid to 3 and outs. And I wouldn't say it was necessarily the front 4, front 7 of Solon. It's been a complete effort for them because Euclid's been trying to throw the ball on them a little bit. In fact, 15 attempts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 completions for Noah Mitchell. So it's really been, Euclid's has been a balanced attack, but Solon's answered every attack that they've come at them with.
All right, Matt, we appreciate it. We'll check back in with you over at Solon. Solon up big on Euclid in a battle of 3-1 teams, Division I, Region 1. Comets shown just how good they can be.
And interesting that Matt brought up Noah Mitchell and his struggles tonight against Solon. I think that once again reinforces just how great that Solon defense is and how great that Solon defense has been. The only team that has been able to beat Solon in the last couple of games has been the same team. Stowe in the playoffs, Stowe again here in the regular season. We're talking about Noah Mitchell. Had 359 yards passing last week. So you know that he's legit. You know that he can make plays through the air. So to hear that he's 5 of 15 so far tonight against Solon, it's not about Noah Mitchell necessarily. It's about the fact that Solon's defense is just that darn good.
Well, we've been tracking the progress of Aurora and Barberton. Barberton cut into that lead with a touchdown pass from Zane Reed to Cody Booker, but Greenman offense back at it, trying to take that lead and push it back out, driving down here early in the third quarter. And Mac Austin, the quarterback, out of the shotgun, keeps, big block. That's Bubba. That's Bubba Arslanian, the fullback. He likes to block. Mac Austin gets into the end zone to extend the Aurora lead. So the Greenmen give up the touchdown, pass to Booker, cut the lead, and then early third quarter, they push it back out with a nice drive.
Guys, we got the all-22 look, too,
yeah.
right there. Love that. You see how the play develops. You see the hole there. That's the other thing about the Greenmen. Offensive line, defensive line, win in the trenches. That was well blocked. I don't think Austin was even touched before he got in the end zone.
I don't know if he was. If he was, it was like right at the goal line maybe. But yeah, really great lead block from his running back. Big hole from the offensive line to start it off, and that's just what Aurora does.
So the Greenmen pushed the lead back out to 28-7, the lead. So they answer. That's what good teams do. You're pushed at the end of the half. You answer in the third quarter. Aurora, a good team, no question.
Probably frustrating, too, for Barberton.
Sure.
Because they get the drive right before the end of the first half. Maybe think that they have momentum, think that they have confidence going into the locker room. All of a sudden, it was 21-0. We got that touchdown on the board. We're feeling good about ourselves. All we have to do is go out there, third quarter, get a stop against Aurora. Can't do it, and now you're facing that 21-point hole again.
So the Greenmen extend the lead. As you know, if you're going to beat a team like Aurora, you're going to have to string together 4 or 5 really good defensive possessions where you don't allow them to do what they do, and it's not easy. That's why they've been to 11 straight. They've been to the playoffs 11 straight years, and that's again, we've talked about programs. Well, Bob Mahalik built that into a program, no question about it.
And early in the third quarter is always such an important time in a football game, too. You mentioned it. Barberton felt like maybe they had some of that momentum. And the good teams know whether they have momentum or not. If you come out at the start of a third quarter after that long halftime and you can kind of stomp on a team just a little bit more, takes the air out of their sails, and you can kind of put the game away after that.
Time for us to take a quick timeout here on the Friday Night Huddle on cleveland.com and Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. As we go to break, we'll take a live look-in from EHS Sports. That's Elder High School. The Panthers leading down in the pit. They're up 7-0, and they're inside the 20-yard line again looking for more. It's the Friday Night Huddle here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel and cleveland.com.
Left guard, picking his way through traffic, gets to the 15. Of course, Elder has entered the Goebels Red Zone. When you dine at Goebels Pub and Kitchen, with each Elder football game ticket, you receive 15% off your check.
As World Heavyweight Champion, Clevelander, and spokesman for Nature Stone, we'd like to present you with our own award.
Wow, it's awesome.
We had it made ourselves. It's made of...
Not the award, the floor.
Oh, it's Nature Stone.
Installed over concrete, Nature Stone flooring is tough, durable, long-lasting, and beautiful. Act now and get up to 50% off.
This is the only time you'll see me on the floor.
To schedule your free in-home consultation, go to naturestone.com today.
The Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education program has been recognizing students and teachers who shine both in and out of the classroom since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com and click on Supporting Education. Students in kindergarten through 12th grade are eligible to be academic all-stars. K through 12 teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible to be honored as the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Crew SC Match Day. Every match, 30 minutes before the kick. Delivering everything fans need to know. With live reports, unmatched analysis, club news, and more. After the game, stay here for Crew SC Post-Match. From the biggest moments to the road ahead, Crew SC Match Day and Crew SC Post-Match. Only on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel.
Save the tax, save a bundle. This week at Mattress Warehouse. Save $900 on our best-selling Sealy Pillow Top with gel foam, just $4.99, and receive a discount equal to the sales tax and a free TV. In fact, save the tax and get a free TV with our most popular Sealy sets. Plus, get 5 years, 0% APR financing and same or next day delivery with qualifying purchases. Save the tax, save a bundle. This week at Mattress Warehouse.
Welcome back inside the Friday Night Huddle. I'm Dave Bacon, joined by Dan Labbe, Chris Fedor from cleveland.com. Guys, our first show here in Week 5, and team's kind of hanging tough. You look over, the biggest surprise so far is how well Solon has played. Conversely, the struggles of Euclid. Struggles. It's not as close as you necessarily would think. 3-1 versus 3-1. Both have played some pretty good teams and beat some pretty good teams.
Yeah.
Not as close as you thought it might be.
Yeah, and that was the game when we started the show that I said that I was kind of most interested in, because I think it's a good test for Euclid. We kind of know who Solon is. At least I think we know who Solon is. I think it's a good test for Euclid. You kind of look at who teams lose to as well when you're trying to judge them, and they both have, if you want to call them this, quality losses. Euclid to Aurora, Solon to Stowe. It seemed like it would be a little bit of a closer game, but we all kind of know how football goes. You know, maybe those teams are more evenly matched than the score. Sometimes things can just snowball for a team.
Yeah, and so we've been charting the progress of Cincinnati Elder down in the pit as they beat St. Ignatius last Saturday, taking on a team from Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh Prep, actually, down at the pit tonight, and they led 7-0 early in the football game. And as we went to break, we saw Panthers were driving again, and here it is. We mentioned you mentioned Michael Bittner in at quarterback, the sophomore, and he's the running quarterback. He keeps it, and Michael Bittner dives into the end zone for the touchdown. And they did make the point after, I am told, so it is 14-0 with about 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Elder, proving why they're in our Super 25 as one of the top teams. You know, their lone loss in week 1 to Pickerington Central, another team very good in the central part of the state. So Elder on a roll here.
And if Elder can start distancing themselves a little bit more against University Prep, then they can start to think about and look ahead to that big matchup against St. Xavier, which is still to come.
And then you also have LaSalle. And you got
Moeller. Sure.
That's the league, the GCL, the Greater Catholic League.
And when you're a team like Elder and you've got that kind of schedule, these kinds of games against University Prep, good for you to get some work, win handily, get some other guys some work, and then move on to the next opponent, which is going to be St. Xavier.
And those games in the GCL are like the Eds Ignatius, Glenville Ignatius. They're just, it's physical, it's tough, guys get beat up, and it takes a cumulative effect. You play 2 or 3 of those in the span of a 5-week period, and everybody's got something that's not quite right.
And it's the old throw the records, throw the rankings out the window. The best team might not always win. Now, they all have good records right now, so maybe that doesn't apply this season, but you know you're always going to have a difficult game in those matchups.
Yeah, without question. And you know, you better have, you know, it's a 2 chin strap game because you're going to get hit.
Bring the extra helmets.
Exactly. Bring the extra helmets, bring the aspirin, bring the Tylenol, because you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
It's going to be physical. You know, we've talked a little bit about Barberton and Aurora, and that game kind of, you know, one team tries to run away and the other team pulls it back in. So it's back and forth. Credit to the Magic because they're hanging tough.
And for Aurora, things do not get any easier from this point. You're talking about next week, they're home against Highland. Of course, Revere's still on the schedule, Copley on the schedule. So we were talking about breaks in the schedule for a team like Elder. It's tough to play quality teams 3 straight weeks, 4 straight weeks. Aurora's in the midst of that portion of the schedule. Barberton tonight, Highland next week, then Revere, then Copley. You talk about 4 tough games that's just only going to help them prepare them for what's to come, which is the postseason, because it's every year for the Greenmen.
And we've spoken about it, and Barberton answers. Same 2 guys hooking up as the last time. And there's the toss. Oh, nice job as Booker goes up and gets it from Reese again. Nice job.
Looks like 6'2" on 5'10" there in terms of the height difference. That's what you do. You take advantage of that particular matchup.
Nice job of going and getting it, too.
Sure.
It was a nice adjustment to the pass by Reese. So Barberton hanging tough. You like to see that. If you're the coach, you know Aurora's an elite team. You fall down, you come back. They came right back. So.
And I mentioned that he likes to spread the ball around a lot earlier, but Look, when you got a matchup you like with one guy, you keep going at that matchup until they stop it.
Sure. I mean, you do that. Guys have made careers in the NFL doing that without question.
That was a heck of a catch.
Yeah.
Good timing, everything. That was really well done.
So the Magic giving the Greenmen a dose of some passing as well. Again, that game now a 14-point lead for Aurora, but Barberton hanging tough.
That's a big game, too, for Barberton. They're 9th right now in Division II, Region 5.
Right.
I mean, that's enormous. And obviously Aurora's 8th, so that's a gigantic early game with the rankings just coming out this week.
Let's take a look back in at the cleveland.com scoreboard. Again, your source for updates as we go through. And here's another look as Cleveland Heights a 32-0 lead. All these 7 o'clock starts, Midview. You think the Middies were a little upset at the loss to Avon?
You think?
49-0 leading Berea Mid-Park. Wadsworth a 21-0 lead. There's the Menor game that we talked about. Bulldogs growling 28-0. That's a very, very good football team, Stowe Monroe Falls.
And Nordonia is a team that could score a little bit, too. They've put up some numbers.
Are there any gobbles left besides the one that's currently playing this year, Dan?
He's the brother of the previous Gobble,
Right.
so I'm sure Coach Nori is out there scouring the phone book for anyone named Gobble, doing some Google searches.
They moved him into tailback, and he's
know.
doing the same thing. He was starting at linebacker last year, and then Jason graduates. Give the ball to Joe.
Right.
And
I'm just wondering if there's another one waiting in the wings that's just going to take over out of nowhere.
Maybe he's in like 5th grade, but he's going to be starting next year anyway.
How about Mike Bell's Twinsburg Tigers starting to put it together? His 2nd year there, hanging tough with an unbeaten Brecksville Broadview Heights team. And we'll actually see them on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel in a couple of weeks. Padua, big lead on Garfield Heights. Chardon, that's a team to keep an eye on. The Hilltoppers are the real deal. Mitch Hewitt has that team playing well. Glen Oak and Green tied at 14. Glen Oak is one of those teams that's near the top of Division I, Region 1. There's a few of those Federal League teams that are bunched up near the top. They're all going to be playing each other and knocking each other off. Had mentioned, and actually Uniontown Lake is in Division II, but they play Jackson, another one of those teams. Those are 2 4-0 teams, 24 and 25 in our Super 25 this week. So again, we'll constantly, from time to time, we'll look in and take a look at some of those scores. Again, beware of the Menor Cardinals if they are on your schedule coming up. Because Coach Trevisano basically said, we need to win out, and we will win out, just like we did in 2010 when they got off to a sluggish start and went through the playoffs.
And I think we had a huge development, guys, in that Chardon-Madison game. If I saw this correctly, I believe Madison had 14 points.
Yeah.
First time all year Chardon has allowed more than 7.
How about that?
So even though Madison's
it's the small victories, right?
You're down 49-14, but you're the only team so far to do anything against that Chardon, if you want to call that something, against that Chardon defense. Up until tonight, they didn't allow more than a touchdown in a game. So small victories.
Let's head to the phones. We have a fan, Bobby from Richmond Heights, joins us. Bobby, welcome into the Huddle. What's on your mind?
Hi, Dave. Just a couple things. First of all, I just discovered your show tonight. I really like the thoroughness of it all, not just covering Northeast Ohio, but, all over. And just a comment and a hats off to you personally. At one time, Mike Massa seemed like the local king when it came to high school football, but I think you may be wearing that mantle now.
I appreciate it, Bobby, and I used to watch Mike Massa, so I take that as a compliment. The reason it's first night is it's our debut show.
We just discovered it, too.
Okay, that explains it.
Yeah, but we appreciate it. Don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you call in and give us your thoughts. Who do you follow?
Well, I'm an Ignatius alum, so I follow Ignatius and Ed's and Benny's, and I was wondering who Ed's plays this weekend.
They play Bookdale. You can see that on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel live at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Actually, Ryan Kavanaugh and I will be calling that game.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Ryan because I also wanted to ask. He's the other guy. Last year, I think it was, or the year before, I had watched some of the high school playoffs and was very, very impressed with Ryan. And I'm just wondering, too, as far as yourself and even Ryan, did you guys go to high school locally here? Because you're very, very passionate about the local team.
Actually, Ryan went to high school in Michigan, was an option quarterback, but he played at John Carroll collegiately, and he played with Nick Caserio and Josh McDaniels.
So my gosh, yeah, Casario's the general manager.
Yeah, the New England guys. I kind of joke with him. He tells me that was the quarterback room, and I said, okay, Ryan, which one of these three doesn't belong? And I actually went to St. Joe's before it was Villa Angeles St. Joe's.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, you guys turned out some players over the years for sure.
Absolutely, yes.
And just wanted to ask you, I saw Chris's name, and I didn't see the name of your other partner there. But
Dan Labbe.
I'm sorry?
Dan Labbe. Stowe Bulldog from cleveland.com.
Okay, so he's a Stowe guy?
He's a Stowe guy.
Stowe guy, yes.
And then how about Chris?
Chris is a West Side guy. I'm an East Side guy.
St. Ed's.
We got everything covered. We got the entire city covered.
Chris is an Ed's guy, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Hey, Chris, quick question to you.
Yeah.
How much do you think we're going to draw at the stadium for Ignatius Eds this year?
That's at least 10,000.
Oh,
I would say
so.
probably a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I think if both teams are going good by that time, I think we're going to double or triple that.
More than the Indians get on some nights.
Maybe more than the Browns game the next
yeah,
night.
more than the Browns
Maybe
deserve.
more than some of the Browns games, yeah.
You know what? It's a great thing. Think about the chance that those kids have to play on an NFL field. And I'm not sure the kickers are going to really like the uprights, but other than that, you're playing where the NFL plays, and that's a great thing. So hats off to the Browns for making that happen this year.
Yeah, that's very cool of them.
Yeah, and they used to do the charity games there too, which were always great, where they do 2 or 3 games in a day, and I know that it's difficult sometimes with the turf and trying to keep that thing ready, but you see it in other cities. I know Pittsburgh does it a lot.
Yep.
Of course, they have the university playing there too.
Cincinnati
it's just
had
a great opportunity.
Cincinnati used to have double headers in the playoffs at Paul Brown, and they draw 50,000 for those. So
and that's the other thing too. So many people talk about how's it going to look on TV if it's not necessarily full. Like it's not about that.
No.
It's about the kids and getting an opportunity to play at First Energy Stadium, the home of the Browns. I remember when I was growing up, I played football in grade school. I played for St. Clement. And I remember the first time I got to play at Lakewood High, just Lakewood High, that opportunity. It was something that I remember now to this day. So if you think about St. Ed's, St. Ignatius, getting the opportunity to play at that stadium where Josh Gordon catches touchdowns sometimes and when Terrell Pryor catches touchdowns sometimes, that's huge for the kids. It doesn't matter how it looks aesthetically.
No, I agree 100%. And again, once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe it's every year. We'll see. Let's hope that becomes regular. Hey, Bobby, we appreciate the phone call. Make sure you stay in touch with us. Thanks very much.
Okay, will do. Nice job, guys. Keep up the good work.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
All right. Well,
we had a little Ignatius Eds thing there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he let you slide.
Nah, they respect each other.
Well, I guess.
It's not game week. They only hate each other week 10 of the regular season.
But the
and
other
playoffs.
thing I got to know from Bobby, he says, you asked him, who do you follow? And he says, well, St. Ignatius and St. Ed's and Benedictine. Like you almost
got to follow
can't,
the rival.
I know you do have to follow it, but it's almost
Well,
can't go
come on,
that far.
but there are families that one kid goes to St. Ed's, one kid goes to St. Ignatius. Yeah.
I mean, my cousin went to St. Ignatius. I went to St. Ed's. My other cousin went to St. Ed's. My best friends growing up went to St. Ignatius.
That's
so
why.
Of course,
you're going to follow it. I get it. Absolutely get it. We've had a wild one over at Veterans Stadium, Barberton and Aurora. Time to check back in. These teams are going to score, and they continue to score. So Barberton answered the Aurora score, and there's my man, Mac Austin, the big quarterback,
high step
breaking through into the end zone. Have some fun. Mac Austin puts Aurora back ahead by a couple of scores. A nice job by the quarterback. Zone read, that's a big guy coming through there that can move.
Yeah, and that was a heck of an offensive line again in front of him. Mac Austin on Monday needs to buy a basket of muffins for each and every one of his offensive linemen and say, thank you for that touchdown, thank you for that touchdown, thank you for that one as well.
And you know what? The guys that are playing quarterback get it. Anytime you talk to them, especially in high school, first thing they say, I'm going to get them pizza. So
that's exactly
pizza or wings seem to be the favorite offensive line food in high school these days, at least from the people that I have talked to.
And those offensive linemen, they can put down some wings.
Absolutely.
If you go buy them wings, you better have a job or something. You better be working at the McDonald's or the movie theater, wherever it is. You better have some money coming in.
And if there's 5 or 7 of them, you're going into the 100, 150 numbers there with wings. But you know what? Keep the big guys happy, and they'll keep you happy on Friday night. You know how that goes.
Yep, exactly.
We're going to take a quick time out. Friday Night Huddle. We'll be right back. It's week 5, and some playoff teams starting to show their colors. Friday Night Huddle will be right back.
World Heavyweight Champion, Clevelander, and spokesman for Nature Stone, we'd like to present you with our own award.
Wow, it's awesome.
We had it made ourselves. It's made of...
Not the award, the floor.
Oh, it's Nature Stone.
Installed over concrete, Nature Stone flooring is tough, durable, long-lasting, and beautiful. Act now and get up to 50% off.
This is the only time you'll see me on the floor.
To schedule your free in-home consultation, go to naturestone.com today.
The Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education program has been recognizing students and teachers who shine both in and out of the classroom since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com and click on Supporting Education. Students in kindergarten through 12th grade are eligible to be academic all-stars. K through 12 teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible to be honored as the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery's Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Crew SC Match Day. Every match, 30 minutes before the kick. Delivering everything fans